Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome in to Council Bluffs. Last year, 7 teams took home state championships from the Unidome in Cedar Falls, capping off memorable seasons for them. And tonight, 2 of them are going at it in a KMA Land regular season game that probably has more hype around it than any I can recall in recent time. It's Harlan, it's Lewis Central, 2 programs that have grown really familiar with one another over the last half decade or so and have been really successful as well. And we've got a doozy for you here tonight on the KMA video stream. I'm Trevor Maeder, joined with Brian Bertini up here in the booth. We've got Nick Stavas out and about on the sidelines here tonight. Huge thanks to everyone at Lewis Central that is helping make this broadcast possible. Of course, they've got my favorite Josh Allen running things, and then we've got students helping run the cameras. Those include Audrey, Keegan, and Tristan that are running things. We've even got a sideline camera on Nick Stavas that we'll go down to here in just a minute. But first, Brian Bertini, this is a matchup. I don't know about you, but since November 20th or so of last year, I've had this one penciled on my calendar.
Well, I'm looking around the crowd, Trevor, and I'm looking at some of the shirts in the LC crowd. It says Night of the Champions, and I think that is a perfect fitting tribute to both squads. Harlan comes 13-0 last year, or a perfect season. LC 11-2. Both teams ranked number 1 in their respective classes, 3A and 4A. You get a rematch. Last year, Harlan won up in Harlan 36-29 early in the year. Harlan, you know, LC's got a game under the belt. They had a really tough game with a really, really good Underwood. That Underwood game is going to come back and look, and you're going to say, well, how good was that Underwood team? You're going to probably find out at the end of the season. But what a marquee matchup. Beautiful night. Huge crowd. See, this is what football feels like here in Southwest Iowa.
Yeah, parking spots becoming hot commodities right now here at Titan Stadium. I got here about 5:15, and I want to say in the parking lot right behind the football field between here and the high school, there was maybe 10 parking spots left. So great crowd here tonight on both sides. It's going to be a doozy. As I mentioned, we've got my man Nick Stavas down on the sidelines here tonight. Nick, this has been the water cooler talk for us for the last couple of weeks. It's finally here, Harlan Lewis Central. You've had a chance to walk around, talk to some people. What's been the vibe down there?
Oh, the vibe is just absolute elation, right? I mean, it's the biggest game of the year in the regular season, not just in KMA land, but in the entire state of Iowa. And one thing that I can tell you right now is that the buzz is palpable down here. Everything has this different feel to it, that big game feel. Even last week in the season opener, it didn't feel like this. So this is seriously such a huge moment for both schools. And Brian, I was able to talk to someone about those T-shirts. It was actually Coach Camrad's wife from Lewis Central. She said that the T-shirts, all proceeds are going to benefit 2 families in need, 1 from each town. They made red ones over for Harlan. They made white ones for Lewis Central. Really, really neat. Same thing with the rally towels that you'll see from from Lewis Central tonight. Excuse me, but I was told that they're going to push over 4,000 fans into this venue tonight, and I would say we're probably getting close.
Yeah, I would say we definitely are. If they could stay off the Wi-Fi or their cell phones, that would definitely make my life easier here tonight. But, Nick, we had a chance last week to watch Lewis Central against Underwood. We talked a little bit about that matchup. You were on the sideline for that one as well. What stood out to you there we saw last Thursday?
Well, one thing that I noticed that Lewis Central didn't do was get Jonathan Humpel going. I mean, they have a Division I running back, a guy who's getting looked at by Division I schools, some big programs, Iowa State, Kansas, some of the names that are looking at him, and he did not get going all night. He got injured in the second half. They didn't put him back in the game. That is going to be huge for Lewis Central tonight. They have to get Jonathan Humpel going in order to open it up for Braylon Camrad. On the other side, can Lucci Fedoni be stopped? I mean, the guy was absolutely electric last week. He had over 100 yards receiving. He returned the opening kickoff 96 yards for a touchdown. Harlan is going to have to be solid on him, and I would not be shocked if we see a Tyreek Hill-like double team on him all night from the Cyclones.
Yeah, you mentioned with Jonathan Humpel, he was really big last time they played, which came in week 1 of last year. Went over 100 yards on 21 carries, had 2 touchdowns, also had a nice game receiving-wise. Brian Bertini, before we head to an interview with Harlan head coach Todd Blatt, what are you looking for here tonight?
Well, I tell you what, Trevor and Nick, this game doesn't count in terms of if you're going to make the playoffs, but boy, does it matter. It matters a lot because as Nick was saying, the excitement is just tangible. You can just feel it. But everybody, the crowd, the fans, the players, and it's just a trickle-down effect. Everybody wants to perform well. And it just kind of vaults you into that national spotlight a little bit more if you're able to come away with a win. You know, if Lewis Central can kind of get this going, it kind of maybe springboards their season. And I think that it just really is a tone setter for both these programs tonight. And what a great way to kick off basically week 1 in KMA football.
Yeah, both these teams ranked number 1 in their respective classes, and again, rightfully so with the talent they return from state championship teams. If you're unfamiliar, last year, Harlan, they were dominant all year. I think the Lewis Central game was their only one-score game all year. They beat Boyden Hull Rock Valley in the state championship game by 2 touchdowns. They were never – I mean, they controlled that game from the word go. Meanwhile, Lewis Central, they had a couple losses early in the year, one of which came to Harlan. Then they went on a magical run through the postseason, got hot at the right time, had a thrilling state championship win over Cedar Rapids Xavier. They lost some beef from last year's team. They've got some dudes on the defensive side that are no longer here. But as we saw last week, they've got, I'd say, maybe the best offense aside from the one that they're going to be going against here tonight in Harlan. So this is going to be a fantastic matchup. Again, Harlan, Lewis Central here on the KMA video stream here tonight. We've got an interview with Harlan head coach Todd Blatt that we're going to play here in just a moment, but don't go anywhere. Harlan, Lewis Central, a lot of fun coming up throughout the night here in Council Bluffs. We've got a fun one coming up for you Thursday night on the KMA video stream. It's a fun battle in Council Bluffs. Harlan, Lewis Central. You can watch it at KMAland.com, and we're previewing it today on the Harlan side of this matchup with head coach Todd Blatt. Coach, it's another year. Always fun to start a new season. How are you guys feeling there in Harlan as we get the new year rolling?
Well, pretty good. We had some good eats last night after a senior feed, so that's pretty good. But we got a lot of guys that are moving in the right direction, and we're excited to get going. I think at this time of the year, you get kind of sick of running into the same guys you've been running into since June. So it's probably time that we get out there and hit somebody other than ourselves for a little bit. So I know the guys are excited about that, and kicking off 22 here, and going to be against LC. They're a good team, well coached, good athletes. So it's going to be quite a contest.
Yeah, and of course, I'm sure a lot of people familiar with the run you guys went on last year to win a state title, and every year is a different year. But when you look back on last year, and there's a lot of pieces from that team coming back, what does what you guys were able to accomplish last year do confidence-wise coming into this year?
Well, you never get to take anything from the year prior into the next season. It's a new season every time, and it's no different this year. The only thing that we're going to be focused on is the very next play. I know that's a little cliche if you want to say, but that's what we always focus on. We just focus on what we can control, and that's going to be a kickoff on Thursday night. And everything leading up to that. So we're just going to try to stay focused on what we can do to be better, and we understand those things that happened last year. They're in the past, and they're written in the history books. So we got to start a new story here.
Tegan Kasperbauer had a fantastic year at quarterback a year ago. Speak to maybe some of the growth and the things you've seen from him so far from his junior year to his senior year that you like.
Oh yeah, he's stronger. I think mentally he's processing the game really well. Decision making, it's definitely always a work in progress for quarterbacks. So I think he's definitely improved his game. But you got to prove it every Friday night. So he's going to be on top of it, and he's got to do what he's controlling what he can control out on the field, and that'll lead him into some good decision making. So hopefully he can put the ball on some guys and they can go up and make some plays.
And talk about Aiden Hall's role in the offense. Obviously a fantastic athlete, going to play collegiately at Iowa in the future. Really came on as kind of the go-to in the backfield. Also had a lot of success receiving. What's the expectation from him in his senior year?
I think we're going to have him moving around and, just kind of utilize his athleticism. He's obviously a fantastic football player, and, we're going to try to use him in different ways to see if we can showcase his abilities out there, and, love to see him do multiple things. So we'll see what we need him to do on Thursday night, as the game progresses, but wherever he's at, I think he's going to excel. So we'll just see what they're going to kind of give us and what we can take away from that. That'll determine on where he's at.
The defense was phenomenal last year. Returned some pieces. Did lose a couple of guys as well to graduation. But who are some of the names and the faces that are going to step up through that unit this year?
Well, I think our linebacking core, we had, Michael Sorfenden and Garrett Osmond. They're going to be returning, obviously, Aiden back deep. And we got Will Newharth out there. He's going to be a returner in the secondary for us. And, D-line wise, we're going to have some new faces in there, but they got a lot of time last year. And we're just going to kind of see who kind of rises to the top and turn on the lights when they come out on Thursday night. See who's going to rise up and be the cream that comes to the top. And those are the guys that are going to get it done. But we'll see what happens. We got a few guys that we're going to poke in there and find out who's going to be the actual the man. So that'll be determined probably Thursday night.
Again, we're talking with Harlan head football coach Todd Blatt, getting ready for a big matchup with Lewis Central. They've got a game under their belt. Obviously, a very, very talented team. I know you know that. But when you look at them and you prepare for this matchup, what sticks out about the Titans?
Oh, yeah, they're always well coached. The quarterback, is the coach's son, so that's always gives them a little bit of an advantage. He's probably I was a coach's son, so I know you get a little bit of it at home, and so he's getting a little bit more instruction that way. I think all the way around they're a very tenacious team. They play hard, they play fast. It's not going to be any different than any other year, and they're a force to be reckoned with, and we're going to have to be on our A game and limit mistakes and try to establish some run game, and I think that's always important in the first contest of the year is getting the ball going on the ground, and that can open up some other things.
Yeah, and you look at their offense. Of course, you mentioned Braylon Camrad. They've got talented skill players around them. Defensively, what kind of challenges does an offense like that present, and what do you feel you guys need to do to come out on top Thursday night?
Well, I'd say do your job. We got a lot of guys that we're going to be stepping in and filling some roles, like you said, from a very talented defense last year. But if we do our job and they know what we're supposed to be in charge of, each play individually, collectively as a unit, we can have some success that way. So I think if we look at it from that perspective and 11 pieces coming together to make a pie is going to be a recipe for success, having some success.
Again, that's Harlan head football coach Todd Blatt. Coach, we appreciate the time today, and best of luck on Thursday night.
All right, thanks a bunch. Go Cyclones. Thanks a bunch.
Welcome back into Council Bluffs here on the KMA video stream online, KMAland.com. Trevor Maeder, Brian Bertini, Nick Stavas here with you tonight, and it is a big night. It's a night of champions. Lewis Central and Harlan going at it here tonight. And Brian Bertini, of course, here at KMA, we love the work that we do, but anytime you've covered a Harlan event over, the last 30, 40 years, there's always been one staple to those, and unfortunately, not with us tonight, but in a way with us tonight.
Yeah,
Ron Novotny.
Ron Novotny, the longtime radio broadcaster for Harlan. And tonight I just texted Matt Goebbels over there working the camera, and I said, you know what, Mr. Ron's watching tonight, and he said guarantee it. He wouldn't miss this for anything. And apparently a lot of other people decide they don't want to miss it. If there's a must-see TV game or broadcast you want to be a part of, this is it. There's people from all over. There's schools that, aren't really connected here. They want to come watch this marquee matchup. And, Trevor, I think the key tonight is which team can eliminate keep teams from making some big plays. Nick mentioned Fedoni breaking the opening kick out back. That's something that Harlan wants to avoid, is let Lewis Central get a lot of momentum early.
Yeah, and with games like this, Brian, and these are two teams that are no strangers to games like this, but games like this can be draining. Obviously not only physically but emotionally, the highs and the lows. Plus, it's early in the year. That could play into it as well. Whichever team is able to weather that the most, or the best, I should say, most likely to probably come on top here tonight.
Well, and last year's game was Lewis Central looked like they had that kind of, in control late, and then Harlan went on that huge fourth quarter to kind of really flip the script a little bit and kind of propel them onto that undefeated season. So, both coaching staffs veteran. They got lots of good guys on both sides that know how to make adjustments. Neither team's going to get rattled, and you got enough key players on both squads coming back from last year. You got your leaders, Casper Bauer, you've got Aiden Hall for the Cyclones, you've got Camrad, you've got Fedoni, you've got Hempel. Those guys are going to really kind of take the team and say, that the younger guys is stepping into some new situations. They're going to say, hey, we got this. Let's just stay with our scheme, stay with what we need to do, and let's just grind out some drives and let's make some plays. And hopefully one of these teams are going to come out, on top, and we get a chance to see who it is.
This is the 58th all-time meeting between these two schools, at least according to BC Moore, a wonderful website. I think maybe the best website in the world. This has been a Harlan-heavy series. 50 of those 57 matchups before have gone way to Harlan, including the last 4. We touched on last year's battle. They met twice in 2020. I think you and I did the regular season finale there, where Harlan was able to get the win. That made their path to Cedar Falls easier. Then they end up running into Lewis Central. Again, a little tighter game that time. Lewis Central had some turnovers, plagued them in that game. Harlan got the win, ended up being a state runner-up. 2019, you go back, Harlan spoiled Lewis Central's undefeated regular season in a low-scoring affair. 2018, Lewis Central beat Harlan to get to the Dome. So these are two teams that I think it's safe to say know each other pretty well.
Yeah, and I think both teams have designs on reaching those games again at Cedar Falls again. And, but one thing, even though these programs are 3A and 4A squads, yes, you have a little bit more depth in some of the smaller classes, but you still need your key players out there. And injuries can have a huge impact. And both squads want to perform well tonight, but they're also looking at the big picture. They need to get into their district play, and they want to make sure they're as healthy as possible. And, a lot of these guys some of these guys are going to go both ways. And, like I said, we got a great field tonight, turf field tonight, great conditions. There is a pretty good breeze, Trevor, and it's kind of coming out of the north a little bit, which is unusual this time of year. And that will affect, I think, the kicking game, won't it?
And that was going to be one area I went with the Keys tonight. Maybe I spent too much time with John Tarks last week, but Lewis Central has a really good kicker in Boston Hensley. Drilled a 50-yarder last year. You always look for those hidden points. That could be an area tonight, although Harlan's got a good one of their own in Stephen Linen. So special teams always maybe the forgotten facet of the game. Could be big here tonight. We saw Lewis Central last week start things off with a bang on special teams.
Yeah, and it can flip the field in a hurry. You get the wind, and say you're down inside your 15 or 20, and you get a punt, and then suddenly it's a 50-yard punt with a big roll. And look like you're thinking as an offense, hey, we're going to get pretty good field position around midfield. And now you're starting your drive from the 20. That changes everything. And also, as you mentioned with Hensley, if you get inside the 30, I was watching him in warm-ups here. He spotted the ball about the 40-yard line and was kicking 50-yard field goals, and they were landing several yards behind. So with this breeze, if you're kicking toward the south end zone, that's definitely the most favorable end to be kicking.
Offensively, some of the names to keep an eye on here tonight. Braylon Camrad, a quarterback for Lewis Central. Northern Iowa commit, threw for 2 touchdowns last week. Jonathan Humpel, Division I prospect, as Nick talked about earlier, has offers from the likes of Iowa State and Kansas. Luciano Fedoni is a game changer with his speed. Had a kick return for a touchdown, a 96-yard reception touchdown last week. Then you look at Harlan. Tegan Kasperbauer has a chance to shatter some school career records. On the cusp of eclipsing the great Joel, I think it was Joel Osborne that had the career passing yards record, and he's thrown 69 touchdowns in his career already.
Yeah, and Aiden Hall, who's going to go to Iowa. And with Fedoni and Hall, maybe the 2 fastest guys in Southwest Iowa, they run against each other, and we're going to get to see them tonight in full display. And I think the crowd, the excitement, and as a player and a coaching, you just can't help feed off of it, can you, Trevor?
One thing to keep an eye on with, I mentioned Tegan Kasper, a very talented quarterback for Harlan, the reigning KMA-Land 3A, 4A, 5A Offensive Player of the Year. My man Matt Goebel sent me these stats earlier on today. Tegan Kasperbauer, 5,860 career passing yards. The great Joel Osborne holds Harlan's record at 62-16. So you do the math, that is 356 passing yards. You look at what Kasperbauer did last year over a 15-game season, it was just over a 300-yard per game average. So very well could put himself more into the Harlan record book than he already is here tonight. But it is going to be so much fun. Harlan Lewis Central, it's a night of champions. Trevor Maeder, Brian Bertini, Nick Stavas here with you tonight. Nick catching all types of fun stuff on his Twitter. Give him a follow at Nick Stavas. He'll have a lot of great stuff. And Brian, after all the talk, I think it's almost time for the coin toss. And I'm always curious, a lot of times in these games, we've seen more so in football, teams want to be the first team to play defense. But with these offenses, would you rather play ahead?
I think part of it's going to be the wind. I think as a coaching staff, you're feeling. I mean, we're up here in the press box. We can feel it. And look at the flags on the sidelines. I'm looking at the flag in the north end zone there. It's blowing pretty good. I'm going to think that determines field position early. Might dictate, how you can kind of get some points rolling and use that wind to advantage. Because probably what usually happens, Trevor, is the wind will kind of die down as the evening goes on. So if you can put somebody kind of in a hole early based on the weather conditions, that might pay dividends late in the game.
Captains going out on the field for the coin toss, and for Lewis Central, it is Braylon Camrad, Peyton Luddington, Parker Matteo, and also out there for them is Parker Heller. As for Harlan, they've got Tegan Kasperbauer as well as Aiden Hall, one of their captains, and Gunnar Schmitz, who's going to play on the offensive line for them tonight, among those out there for the coin toss. Lewis Central, if you're watching on the KMA video stream, first off, thank you to everyone that's watching. They're the home team. They're in the blue with the white numbers. Harlan, the road team tonight, they've got the white jerseys with the red numbers. So the coin toss getting ready to begin. What a night of football we're going to have here for you tonight. A giant crowd in attendance. A lot of people, it looks like, watching at home, and I believe even using our feed on the TV in Harlan tonight. So thanks to everyone that is watching here tonight for this one. Can't get much better than this to start the year, Brian.
No, and one unlooked factor sometimes is the officiating. This is a big game for the officials too, Trev. They can't wait. I mean, you get assigned this game and you're like, wow, we got two state champions. Look at the crowd, the field. This almost has like a take off, put a roof in here, and we've got a Unidome type atmosphere, don't we?
Very much so. And like I said, when the regular season ended last year, this was a game that I had on my calendar from the very beginning to check out, and we're more than excited to get this one going. As again, they've got the pregame ceremonies going on right now. This game ran a little behind schedule. They had a freshman game run a little long. I believe also maybe they were trying to make sure the parking got accommodated and everything got sorted out because, like we said, just a crowd of people here in attendance tonight. This is the first of 3 video broadcasts we've got for you this week. Tomorrow night, Nick Stavas will have Clarinda at Creston. That should be a fun non-district battle. And I'll be in Corning for Southwest Valley taking on Central Decatur. I'll have the call that one alongside Cody Konishny. So Lewis Central won the toss. Looks like they deferred, and Harlan is going to get the ball to start things first here, Brian.
Yeah, and they're going to get the wind at their back, Trevor, first quarter, which Tegan Kasperbauer is probably licking his chops.
Yes.
He says, let's go, guys. That's the advantage, too, with Coach Blatt has with a guy like Kasperbauer. He can kind of really turn the reins over to him. He'll probably make some calls on the line of scrimmage, Trev, and make some adjustments, some audibles. And with a veteran player that's got the experience and the wherewithal and, of course, the numbers to back it up, boy, what a luxury as a coach to say, hey, here's what we kind of want to run. If you see something you like, you can change it, and the players he has to do it, they make adjustments. And that makes it hard for the defense. But Chris Hannafin, I bet he's got a few things up his sleeve for the defensive coordinator for the Titans.
They've got, I think it's Ben Matteo's the defensive coordinator. Chris Hannafin working with the defense. My man Matt Argensinger on the defensive line. Well, not on the defensive line, but coaching the defensive linemen for Lewis Central. They're going to be ready to go, but Harlan's got some really good coaches in their own regard as well. Of course, with head coach Todd Blatt and offensive coordinator Mark Cohorst, it's really built a really successful offense over years past. So going to be fun here tonight. Boston Hensley going to kick things off here for Lewis Central. Lewis Central Harlan about ready to get things going. We've got Nick Stavas down the sidelines. We'll try throughout the night. Well, we've got time to throw it down to Nick and see what words of wisdom he's got.
He's got lots of words of wisdom. Look at him. He's ready.
Yeah, I told him to make sure he wear a bright shirt so I could spot him, and he listened. So I'm happy for that.
He's going to get excited enough. He might be on the field at times as he runs down the field.
Man, I'm ready to run out there right now.
I know. I could see.
I probably wouldn't last long though.
Well, here we go. Boston Hensley will kick things off. for Lewis Central, and it looks like the always potent Aiden Hall among the returners back there for Harlan.
That's a dangerous proposition to see Aiden Hall's about 6'2", 220 kind of come at you like that with a full head of steam.
And after all the talk, we're finally going to play some football here at Council Bluffs. Boston Hensley powers that one into the end zone. It'll be a touchback. Harlan will start their opening drive of the 20-yard line. And Brian Bertini, as we mentioned, Tegan Kasperbauer, very seasoned quarterback, multi-year starter. Definitely etching his name as, if not the best, one of the best quarterbacks in Harlan program history. Going to come out to command the offense.
Yeah, that was an impressive kick by Hensley into a pretty stiff wind. He got it into the end zone. Of course, high school, it's an automatic touchback, and you bring it out to 20. And the Cyclones, going to see if they can get something out of it. I think they'd love, if nothing else, to really get on the other side of 50 and get a scoring opportunity here at their first drive.
Harlan likes to line up out of the I formation, but don't be fooled. They're not afraid to throw the pigskin around. Kasperbauer out of the I, screen left side. Hall gets to the 25, breaks the tackle to the 30, and is on his feet, knocked out of bounds near the 35-yard line. We'll see where they officially spot it, but Brian, we see quickly trying to feed the horse that is Aiden Hall.
Well, and that's it. He's such a huge threat on the perimeter because he's so good in space. He's quick, he's agile, he's strong, he's big, he's got breakaway speed, he's got the ability to catch in traffic, and what a great look for that. And it's tough as a defender because you're out there kind of isolated on one-on-one coverage, but good start for the Cyclones there as they pick up a first down.
Hall's got great speed, state medalist, Drake Relays qualifier in the 100, gain of 13, so they've got a 1st and 10 on the Harlan 33 I formation. And they fake the handoff to Brad Kerr, and Kasperbauer wants to take a shot to Cade Sears, and lots of contact. And they'll let him play through. Sears and Curtis Whitty kind of ran into each other, but that one was a little too stretched out for Sears to chase down.
And veteran officiating crew. Some guys get a little nervous and uptight. Yep. They might be tending, to throw the flag right there, but they let that play through. They saw what was going to happen, and it ends up just being an incompletion. But Kasperbauer going for the juggler there early on this first drive.
And one thing in watching Harlan last year on their state championship run, they love to work out of the play action, and that was where they tried to go there. 2nd and 10 from the 33. Again in the I, Kinkle and Curran. Oh, fullback dive. Kinkle bowls forward to about the 41, maybe the 42. William Kinkle was a large part of what Harlan did last year down the stretch in November.
Wow, what a great thing right there. Second and 10, you pick up 8. Now you got a really nice, manageable 3rd and 2. Trevor really opens up that playbook and gives you lots of options. And let's see what the Cyclones dial up here as they get close to midfield.
So 3rd and 2 for Harlan on their opening drive from their own 41-yard line. 40 seconds into this game. Again, they'll go in the I. Kinkle and Curran dot it. Hall on the right side. Looks like Cade Sears on the left side. Again, they'll give it to the fullback, Kinkle. He keeps the legs moving up towards the 45-yard line, and a fresh set of downs for Harlan. Jacob Birch, the tall tight end, one of them out there paving the way. I think Jacob Birch might be the hidden key tonight for Harlan offense. Of course, everybody's talking about Aiden Hall, but Jacob Birch had a big game against Lewis Central last year.
Yeah, you mentioned that in your pregame interviews. You talked about a little bit of that, and I think you have a good point there because he's that guy that's got some matchup problems for the defense. That right there, that first down was all Harlan offensive line right there. They got a huge push up front, and the fullback got the first down. And nice opening drive here by the Cyclones here, Trev.
Fresh set of downs on their own 45-yard line. Empty shotgun for Kasperbauer. Puts Hall in motion. They fake the jet sweep. Kasperbauer, pocket collapsing around him, and he gets spun down. No, he got it off to a lineman who then gets wrestled down.
Trevor. I think the ball came loose out of his hand, and it landed, fortuitously into the hands of the Cyclone lineman who was able to actually make it into a positive game. So
that was Austin Schumacher that ends up with it. Parker Matteo was the man bringing pressure.
Well, Schumacher's going to go over and say, hey, coach, you see me carry that ball? He says, yeah, let's go back to the line. You're going to keep making holes for the other guys.
2nd and 8 now from the 47.
And that could have been, it could have been second long, Trev, but it now is, on the positive side of the stick. So kind of, like I said, a nice break for Harlan.
Again, Kasperbauer out of the shotgun. Brad Curran on his left hip in the shotgun. Drops straight back. Wants to take a shot to Hall, who had some separation on his man. Kick one, Hornets intercepted along the sideline by Curtis Whitty. Off the deflection. He had one last week. He gets one there in and out of the hands of Hall, and the first turnover goes to Lewis Central.
Well, it was a pretty well thrown ball by Kasperbauer. Hall had to kind of stretch out. He was kind of fighting the sideline. I think he took his eye off just a touch, and the ball just kind of floated a little bit. And Whitty, recipient right there. All you need in high school is 1 foot down. He got it down, and a big break right there. as they snuff out that opening drive. Now Lewis Central going to see what they can do offense.
Yeah, the Titans going to start on their own 24-yard line real quick. We'll hold that thought as Lewis Central goes maybe right out into their first play. But good job by Whitty kind of shadowing defensively. Hall got by the first man, but Whitty was there to catch it off the deflection. 1st and 10 for Lewis Central from their own 24, and they'll hand it off right up the middle. That is for a gain of a couple.
Like
that
Caleb
is not
Moore.
Jonathan Humble. That's Caleb Moore, who is listed as a tight end, gets the carry tonight. Nick Stavas, you're down there on the Lewis Central sideline. They got to be pretty pumped after that, right?
Oh, yeah, that interception by Curtis was right in front of me. He got put down. He was able to haul in on the sideline. Just a great play.
So they'll go on 2nd down, 2nd about 5 from the 29 now for Lewis Central after the interception by Whitty and the 5-yard run by Caleb Moore. Camrad out of the shotgun, running back to his left. He'll give it to Caleb Moore again. Moore bowls forward for a couple more yards before being spun down by a trio of Cyclones. This could be 3rd and short coming up for Lewis Central.
Again, a nice manageable distance here. Still have some options. They picked up, 3 or 4 yards the first 2 runs. Now you've got an option here. Cameron under center.
They love to run with Camrad, the quarterback, and that's the case there. And he gets some help from his friends to bowl forward to about the 38-yard line before being brought down. So a gain of 6 for Lewis Central moves the chains.
Yeah, they don't have the big beef they had last year with some of those guys up front, but these guys it sounds like they're really agile and they're really good at firing off the blocks, and that could be an advantage too. You can really get out and get outside on the corners too. So coaching staff looking forward to some different things, and nice opening drive here by the Titans.
1st and 10, 3 receivers on the right side as Camrad will work out of the shotgun, running back to his right hip. They give it to Moore again. Moore with a nice hole up the middle of the 45, lowers the boom and gets towards midfield before Brad Curran will wrestle him down, but Brad Curran trying to tackle Caleb Moore low, and Caleb Moore is a nice-built gentleman, able to keep the legs moving.
Yeah, and what a great job. A nice hole up front by the Titan offensive line. He didn't get touched till he's about 5 yards deep, and Cyclones started via the pass on their first drive. Titans going ground game.
Yeah, so a gain of 12 for Lewis Central, and Caleb Moore has seen all the touches so far. I mentioned Jonathan Humple, the Division I prospect for the Titans, suffered an injury last week. He is suited up tonight. I was told that it's expected he'll play, but right now, Caleb Moore, the man getting the totes. Trips right, but movement on the front line for Lewis Central is going to back him up 5 more. They've got H.A. Henderson in the backfield right now for them.
Yeah, and Brandon Shue right there was the man in motion, and I think he got up a little close right there, and I think the lineman in front of him thought the play was started. So kind of our first mishap, first penalty of the night so far, Trev.
Go back Lewis Central up to their own 45-yard line. Nick Stavas, we saw last week, the run game for Lewis Central a little shaky at times, but they're getting it moving here early on, it looks like.
Yeah, they are moving, and I can tell you right now, I saw Jonathan Humple over here on the sideline. He did a big ankle wrap. He obviously hasn't been in yet.
So here we go with the 1st and 15 from the 45 after the penalty. Camrad wants to throw quickly out of the backfield, takes a shot over the middle. It's caught by Luol Maker, who hauls it in at the 42. And Brian Bertini, if you watched last week's broadcast against Underwood, Luol Maker is the guy that John Tarks and I talked a lot about. Listed as 6'7", a really good track athlete for them. Listed as a number 2 wide receiver, somebody they're hoping to use at times this year, and they do here.
Well, it's pretty nice to have a 6'7" guy. If you throw it up there, he's got a wingspan, but I was impressed with Maker's job. He pulled that down in traffic, Trev, and grabbed it, tucked it in, and kept his body, got his shoulders leaning up, got a few more yards, and now the Titans on the other side of the 50.
Yeah, they're the Harlan 43. 2nd down, and they will hand it off Moore again. Moore gets to about the 38 before being brought down. Garrett Osman, Brad Curran among those that make the stop. But it'll be a 1st down for Lewis Central, the 39. They needed 3, they get 4.
And the other thing this is doing too, Trev, remember Harlan has this wind in the first quarter here, and the ground game by the Titans is chewing up a little bit of that clock. So you're kind of, taking some of the advantage of having Harlan with the wind here.
So 1st and 10, 6:55 left here in the first quarter. First drive of the game for Lewis Central. It'll be an empty backfield shotgun for Camrad. 3 receivers to the left. Whitty flanked down the far left side. Looks like Luciano Fedoni in the slot. Camrad will throw along the right side. Maker incomplete. It was deflected away by Will Newharth. I talked about Aiden Hall's speed. Will Newharth, also a state medalist in the 100, able to close on that one quickly and get the deflection.
Well, he closed really fast. Did a great job of using the front hand, knocked the ball down, didn't make contact with the receiver. And good defensive play because Maeder was open on that,
Yeah.
but just a better defensive play.
Newharth had the championship clinching interception for Harlan last year in their state title win over Boyden Hole Rock Valley late in that game. 2nd and 10 from the 39 coming up for the Titans. Camrad in the shotgun, 2 receivers on the right side. A.J. Henderson on his right hip in the shotgun. He's also got 2 on the left as well. Camrad dropping back. Pressure coming up the middle. Scramble to the left. Looking downfield. And Camrad going to have to try to turn nothing into something. He's got to the 30, inside the 30 to the 28 or so. It's going to be close to a first down. Good job by Camrad showing off his mobility. And, Brian, I think they're going to give him the first down.
Well, great job by brilliant Camrad right there. Did you notice the experience right there? He never took his eyes off downfield. He was moving forward, kept his shoulders parallel, line of scrimmage. You know, a lot of times guys will duck their head and turn and run. He just kind of kept waiting and saw nothing, followed a block, and ended up, as you mentioned, Trev, getting a really important first down. And this is a really impressive drive here by the Titans after the INT by Whitty.
Yeah, needed 10. He gets 11, and it's 1st and 10 for Lewis Central from the Harlan 28-yard line. And they'll hand it off. Caleb Moore again. It gets a couple of yards. Did a good job at shedding off a tackle near the line of scrimmage, and Caleb Moore gets a positive gain on first down. And that's always a very important part of a game like this, is just being able to net gain on first down and second down. Opens up the playbook a lot more. That's what Lewis Central will be at with 2nd and 8 from the Harlan 26.
Yeah, we're already down to about the 6-minute mark here in their first quarter. A nice methodical ground, chewing up drive here by the Titans.
So Camrad out of the shotgun. He's play actioning right. Dumps it out in the flat, and it's caught and then brought down to the 23-yard line as Brandon Shue getting his first catch of the season. Shue is kind of like a wing back there. He rolls out to the right and gets a couple of yards out of that.
It was a nice wrap-up tackle. I think it was Kester on that tackle. It was a nice job right there because if he breaks that tackle, he had a little bit of edge right there and could have probably got the first down. But now, pretty important third down here, Trev, about 3rd and 5.
Wonder if this isn't. I mean, you got a kicker like Hensley. Maybe this isn't 4-down territory, but 3rd and 5. Maybe you're thinking 2 plays for 5 yards here. Camrad will take the snap. Looks like design quarterback run. Can't quite break out of the ankle tackle, and that was Matthew Sorfunden who comes up with the stop. Maybe a yard or so for Camrad.
And that was almost felt like they moved it back more toward the middle. So if he didn't get a first down, Trev, they've got a little bit more advantageous, angle for the kicker. But they're
going to go for it.
There's no kicking team out there right now.
So here we go, 4th and 4 from the 22. See if they try to just draw them off sides or if they're actually going to run a play. And I don't know, Camrad was really trying the hard count. Now he looks over the sideline. Of course, his dad, Justin, the head coach. They'll go out of the shotgun, and they'll run a play on 4th and short. Camrad looking right. Wanted to dump it out of the backfield. Now scrambling right. Takes a shot to Henderson, who hauls it in inside the 10. No, incomplete. It was jarred out at the last moment. And it's a turnover on downs for the Harlan defense. And I think coming up with the deflection there was Garrett Osman. And, Brian, that was just kind of a broken play. Camrad throws a floater to Henderson. Maybe they were going to get it, and then a deflection knocks it away.
And there was the wind, I think, had an effect because Camrad was backpedaling and threw off his back foot, Trevor, and he had to throw into the wind, and it just kind of hung up. And as you saw the receiver, he had to sit and kind of wait for it. By that time, the defense collapsed on him, knocked the ball away, and a great stand for the Cyclones. So after all that, we're kind of back by where we started, wasn't it?
Yeah, we'll go down to Nick Stavas here in just a moment. 1st and 10 for Harlan from their own 22 after the turnover on down. So an interception on Harlan's opening drive, a 4th down stop on Lewis Central's, and we're all zeros. 4:23 left here in the first. Here's a toss left side. That's Aiden Hall trying to get some speed. Gets up past the 35, breaks out of a tackle, then is spun down out of bounds at around the 40. But the toss to Hall gets him about 18 on first down. Nick Stavas, what do you got down there?
Well, one thing I can see, Trevor, is what you mentioned on the first drive. Maeder is in the game for almost every snap. I mean, he got any time last week, and now all of a sudden he's out there for pretty much every snap. So that's going to be a weapon that Lewis Central is obviously going to look to use, and maybe one that they were trying to keep a secret until this game rolled around.
So 1st and 10 coming up for Harlan after the 18-yard gain by Aiden Hall. And again, they'll go I formation. Kenkel and Curran in the I. Hall on the right side. Kate Sears on the left side. They will hand it off. Brad Curran trying to wait for the hole to develop. Gets a couple yards. Garrett Rutledge, Parker Matteo get the stop. But a gain of 2 for Harlan on a first down will make it 2nd and 8 from their own 42-yard line.
Yeah, Nick, I don't know if you can see, we can see from up here, but Harlan's doing a really good job of moving Aiden Hall in different spots, put him in the backfield, put him out, and really, as a defender, you have to adjust to your personnel package.
So it'll be 2nd and 7 coming up for the Cyclones on their own 43-yard line. 3:44 and rolling left here in the first quarter. No score. Pistol look. They'll put a man in motion. And they will hand it off Hall. Hall breaks out of a tackle, breaks out another tackle, has the first down, and then can't squirm through about the 4th tackle attempt. Peyton Ludington gets the stop. But it's a first down for Harlan into Lewis Central territory at the 47-yard line.
And that's going to be a reoccurring theme all season long, is that Aiden Hall just keeps getting yards after contact, yards after contact. And the scary thing is, if he gets through the line, he can kick it into another gear and all of a sudden find himself in the end zone.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think a lot of people forget about Aiden Hall is, of course, he's got the speed. We know that. But, the size and the strength that he brings to the table as well. He didn't start the year last year at running back, played receiver, then they moved him to running back, and they're moving him around all sorts of different ways tonight here early on. 1st and 10 for Harlan. I formation. They give it to the fullback, Kenkel. He's got a nice hole inside the 40, and then gets brought down to the 39-yard line. I think Caleb Moore was the one that got the tackle there, but gotta love fullbacks, and Coach Tom Blatt obviously loves them.
Well, it just frees it up. As Hall spread out here to the right side, 2 defenders from the Titans have to shade that way to kind of protect that, and that gives you an option. As you mentioned, the ground game working really well right now for the Cyclones here on this drive.
So 2nd and 3 for Harlan into Lewis Central territory on the 40-yard line. 2.5 rolling here in the first quarter. I formation with Kasserbauer and Curran back there. Kasserbauer play actions to the running back. Will throw it. It's intercepted. Oh, was it? Along the sideline, incomplete. Boston Hensley jumped on that one well as they were trying to go to Cade Sears. He had it for a moment, and then as we got kind of into the bodies there on the sideline, he dropped it, and a missed opportunity for Lewis Central defensively, but 3rd and 3 coming up for Harlan.
Yeah, that was a really nice route, but as you mentioned, Hensley closed on that and almost had INT number 2.
Curtis Whitty had the first one, and you look, Tegan Kasserbauer against Lewis Central in his 3 games has been really, really good and has taken care of the football. Shotgun look here on 3rd and 3 from the Lewis Central 40. Curran back there with Kasserbauer. And a whistle, that might be backing him up 5 yards. And if that's the case, it'll be 3rd and 8 from the 45. And Brian Bertini, in what ways, if any, does this change how you attack the 3rd down?
Well, it might change what Lewis Central does defensively. Do you a little bit more aggressive now with the pass rush? Do you send an extra guy, Trev, to see if you can do that? Or is that a little frightening because does that make more of a jailbreak situation and let a guy like Aiden Hall kind of run in and around the linebackers?
So 3rd and 8 for Harlan from the Lewis Central 45. Kasserbauer in the shotgun. Brad Curran on his right hip. 2 receivers on the left. Passing down here, Kasserbauer. Pocket collapsing, trying to make a play. Gets to the 40, close to the first down, then gets muscled down by Owen Thomas near the line of scrimmage. We'll see if they give it to him. And
well, I think even if it's not, it's going to be 4th and short, and I think it's probably a go. Really, you're at that kind of tweener. You're not going to gain much by punting. So I think the Cyclones, I think that was decision. Once Coach Blatt saw where it ended up, that decision was made. Here they go.
Yeah, about a yard is what we're going to have. So 4th and 1 from the 38. One thing I'm interested to see in Kasserbauer this year, at least in the last couple of years, hasn't been incredibly mobile in terms of production-wise. See if that's an area of his game that grows this year. It looked evident on that play. Here we go, 4th and short. Kasserbauer on the keeper, and I think he got it pretty comfortably.
That was a nice surge by the interior lineman, the center, and the guards right there. Got enough push. Kasserbauer, pretty good-sized guy of himself too, Trev, and leaned forward. So his scrambling ability kept that drive alive, and he converts the first down. And both teams, the heavyweights, kind of slugging it out. No scores, but we've seen a lot of nice drives by the squads here in the first quarter.
Minute 15 left here in the first. Kasserbauer, a multi-sport athlete, plays basketball, plays baseball for the Cyclones. We're down to a minute left here in this quarter. Still no score. I formation for Harlan with Kenkel and Curran back there. Kasserbauer will throw. Looking on the left side. He has Cade Sears, but a penalty marker is down on the far side. Sears was near the sticks at the 25, but the penalty marker is at the 27-yard line. We'll see if it's some sort of penalty against Harlan, maybe like an offensive pass interference.
Well, unless it's a defensive holding.
Yeah,
Aiden
that
Hall
very well
was in
could be
that
as well.
vicinity, and you don't know if somebody grabbed him as he was trying to break free in a route. Looks like it's going to be on the Titans because
That's the way the Harlan
umpire's talking to the Cyclone quarterback.
That's going to be holding on Peyton Luddington, a linebacker for Lewis Central. So either way, it was going to be a first down.
Well, and again, that's one where Aiden Hall or one of the receivers is kind of breaking free, and you don't want them to get a free look and maybe score a touchdown. So one of those where, yeah, you get a 10-yard penalty, but you prevent maybe a possible score, Trevor.
So now they've got on the Lewis Central 26-yard line. Fresh set of downs for the Cyclones. 45 seconds left here in this first quarter. Kasserbauer under center with Kinkle and Curran in the I formation. They'll give it to the fullback, Kinkle. He gets met at the line of scrimmage, and that was Peyton Luddington and Colby Souther in there on the stop. Colby Souther, we saw him play basketball this year, got a really nice frame to him.
Yeah, that was a nice job of the Titans defensive line to kind of collapse that hole and really prevent a big gain, only gain of a couple. So nice job right there. And I tell you what, this quarter is probably going to end right here. I don't know if I've had a 0-0 opening quarter that's been this exciting. Have you?
No, we're down to 10 seconds left in this quarter, and Harlan not showing any urgency to run another play. So it looks like this quarter is going to come to a close. Been a fun one so far. No score here in Council Bluffs. We'll catch our breath. Be back here in a moment on the KMA video stream online, KMAland.com. We played one here in Council Bluffs, no score. Trevor Maeder, Brian Bertini, Nick Stavas here for the KMA video stream tonight. Nick, one quarter in the books. It's 0-0, but that doesn't mean there hasn't been action. What stood out to you so far?
Well,
I think we might have lost him. A lot of people here kind of makes for the sideline gear to be a little difficult, but Brian, as maybe we try to work Nick back into it, what stood out to you so far?
I think both teams kind of threw some punches right there. Harlan looked like they had a nice opening drive. The deflected ball off Aiden Hall went into the hands of Curtis Whitty. Titans went ground game with their running back, Caleb Moore, really pushed it down there. The drive stalled, kind of a deflection at the end. Harlan got the ball back. They're trying to see if they get the points. They're going into the win now. Let's see if that changes the play calling a little bit for Coach Blatt and his staff here. But I like what both teams are doing. I think you're seeing the strengths of both teams tonight.
Let's try Nick again. Nick, you got me?
yeah, do you have me?
I got you loud and clear.
Oh, the one thing that I've noticed the most about this Lewis Central defense is the corners are playing a lot better than they did last week. Obviously, last week, Jack Van Boston for Underwood really beat them over the top, but Boston Hadley and Curtis Whitty have been really good so far in this game against the pass game.
So Harlan will start this quarter, second 8 on the Lewis Central 24-yard line. Again, no score. Harlan on their second offensive drive of this game. Pretty quick-moving game. Harlan had 1.5 drives, you could call it. Lewis Central just one of the first quarter. Kasserbauer, play action, rolling right. Will throw to Hall in the end zone. Jump ball, it's caught! Aiden Hall, what a snag with 2 defenders on him off the deflection. Touchdown, Harlan.
If you're going to throw it up for grabs, that's a pretty good place to go, isn't it? Aiden Hall just out-muscled it. He's got the hand strength right there to come down with the ball. It was a good defense, I thought, by the defensive backs, by the Titans, but Hall just made a little bit better catch. And the Cyclones, first play in the second quarter, strike.
So Harlan opens the quarter with the touchdown. Now here's Steven Lannon on to kick the extra point. Brad Curran is the holder, and of course, if you've ever seen a Harlan football game under Coach Todd Blatt or his father, KMA Sports Hall of Fame coach Kurt Blatt, they run the swinging gate out of the extra point attempts, and such is the case here. The lefty kicker in line and getting ready for the point after try, and it is up, and it is good. 7-zip Harlan, 11:52 left here in the first quarter. Nick Stavas, that was kind of down in your territory. Aiden Hall showing off his skills.
Well, I think it was really Tegan Kasperbauer who made that play. I mean, obviously Aiden Hall is a huge part of it, but Kasperbauer looked off the safety, and the safety bit, and then Boston Hensley, there's just nothing he can do. Aiden Hall 6'4", Boston Hensley's 5'8". Hall's going to win that every time. Kasperbauer knew it. He had him one-on-one, and he tossed it that way.
So 7-zip Harlan, 8 seconds into the second quarter. The Cyclones trying first. Now we'll see what Lewis Central can do on their second drive of the game. They were able to move the ball well on that first drive, but just couldn't get into the end zone.
Well, and that extra point is big because that was not the prettiest looking extra point. It just kind of got over there, over the crossbar. But that's huge because, now you're going to force LC to score and get an extra point, to keep this even. And now we'll see what the Titans do with the wind at their back.
Luciano Fedoni, Boston Hensley back to return for Lewis Central. Fedoni started last week's game
I want to ask
with
Nick,
a kick return.
You're down there on the sideline. Do you feel, is there a pretty good wind down there? I mean, we're kind of feel it up here in the top, but do you feel a pretty good breeze down there? Do you think it's having an effect?
Yeah, I do. I feel like that might be why my mind is breaking out so much. The wind really gets it, but yeah, there is a decent wind. Maybe not as much as the flags are blowing up there atop the bleachers, but yeah, there's definitely a wind that is worth playing.
Touchback on that kick will have Lewis Central in business at the 20-yard line to begin their second drive of the game. If you're just tuning in, Harlan's first drive ended in an interception. Lewis Central drove all the way down deep into Harlan territory, turned it over on downs, so then Harlan able to move the ball downfield. And Brian, I think maybe the hidden play in that drive, the dropped interception along the sideline.
Yeah, and again, no Jonathan Humple here as we start the second quarter. So I think we're going to see it, maybe a little heavy dose again of number 15 for the Titans, Caleb Moore.
So Camrad out of the shotgun, Caleb Moore to his right hip. Two receivers on the right side, one receiver on the left side. It's Luwal Maker on the left. They will hand it off Moore. Moore up the middle. Nice hold of the 30. Moore gets brought down from behind to the 34-yard line. Did a good job of holding on to that football late. Aiden Hall comes up with the tackle.
Yeah, that's pretty sure tackler right there, but it took a little bit of all Aiden Hall had to bring that guy down. But, again, a huge run, and suddenly, I tell you what, the Titans have been playing in front of the sticks here pretty much this first half.
A gain of 14 for Lewis Central there. So 1st and 10 from their own 34-yard line. They will play action. Camrad wants to take a shot. Whitty beat his man, and the pass is there to Curtis Whitty, the 20, to the 10, to the 5. Braylon Camrad to Curtis Whitty, 66 yards, touchdown Lewis Central, and that is how the Titans answer.
Well, and that's predicated probably by the play action right there. A lot of attention paid to Caleb Moore on the ground game. They went that, got one-on-one coverage on the outside. Curtis Whitty beat his man. Camrad put it where he needed to. And we're 1 point away from having a tie ball game.
Coach Justin Camrad, somebody that said Whitty was somebody when I talked to him earlier this year that was probably going to see a little bit more of a role in the offense this year with the graduations they had, and that is the case there as Lewis Central needs only 2 plays to answer. And now here's Boston Hensley on for the PAT try. Luciano Fedoni will hold it. And Hensley's kick is up. And he puts it through, 7-7, 38 seconds in. We've had 2 touchdowns in the last 30 seconds. Nick Stavas, you're down there on the Lewis Central sideline. They look pretty excited. All right, maybe we don't have Nick Stavas. I thought maybe we did, but right now they're...
I think he was shielded by the flag group running by. He couldn't hear. Maybe he probably couldn't hear you. Try him again.
Nick, you're down there on the Lewis Central sideline.
I can't hear anything, guys. It is. This feels more like a Lewis Central Harlan game, doesn't it?
It very much does. A touchdown pass from Braylon Camrad to Curtis Whitty from 66 yards out.
And now the quarterback. I mean, this is going to be the quarterbacks from here on out. Both Kasperbauer and Braylon Camrad have found their rhythm. They both had big plays. The nerves are gone. This is winning time right here. This is where the 2 quarterbacks can start to duel it out.
So now it'll be Boston Hensley kicking it off for Lewis Central. Harlan with Will Newharth back there to return.
And I think this game, Night of the Champions is so fitting with the shirts tonight, and that's what you expect champions to do right there. One team scores, Titans don't panic. They go a little play action. Next thing you know, witty Camrad connection, and we're tie ball game. And I think that's kind of maybe what we're going to see all night is when one team responds, the other one can come back with the same kind of answer.
We've played 38 seconds here in this second quarter, and
12
already
minutes, no points. And
yeah.
What'd you say? 38 seconds.
Yeah,
and 14 points.
four plays, 2 touchdowns. So
Much to the delight of the crowd, I think, too.
Yes,
both
very
people
much
feeling
so.
pretty good. I think everybody's got the anticipation of this being a down-to-the-wire ball game.
Hensley with the kick, toes it into the end zone, and Harlan will start their next drive on their own 20-yard line.
So neither team able to get it. So the return game
Yeah.
kind of non-existent for both squads tonight, which
again, we talked a little bit about with the kickers coming into tonight.
And one thing, guys, I wanted to point out, we talked earlier before the game, Luci Fedoni was such a huge part of that game against Underwood. We have not seen him tonight. It's been Lou Maker and Curtis Whitty stepping up for the receiving corps for the Titans.
Well, but if I'm a Harlan coach defensively, I'm going to make sure I know where Fedoni is because he's one play away from, scoring a long touchdown.
Harlan play action on first down, pressure coming off the edge. Castro just has to unwind one, and it's incomplete. Try to go to the big tight end, Jacob Birch, and a flag comes in late. 2 defenders were there for Harlan. It looks like it was Whitty and Boston Hensley, and one of them going to get called for pass interference.
That's a 50-50 call. There's some contact. Maybe the ball's not catchable, but you got to at least let the receiver have a chance. So, I know there's a lot of fans in teal, blue, and navy not happy with that, but it is what it is, and the official says pass interference, and it moves the chains. First down, Harlan.
And so first down for Harlan now on their own 35-yard line. 1st and 10 coming up for the Cyclones out of the I formation. Kasserbauer with Kinkle and Noah Schmitz, a new man back there. Movement, but they let him play through. They'll hand it off to Schmitz. Schmitz gets met in the backfield, and look to be Caleb Moore coming up with the stop.
A good surge by the Titans right there. Gain of probably about 1 or maybe just a half a yard right there. It's going to bring up 2nd long no matter what. So, again, let's see what Coach Blatt and his staff calls up here on the 2nd long as they try to see if they can get something going here on their second drive of this second quarter.
2nd 9 from the 36. About a pistol look for Harlan. Don't see that a ton from them. But they'll show it here with Kasserbauer and Schmitz back there. Actually, it's Kenkel back there. Pass play all the way. Wants to take a shot at Sears. He got by his man, and he hauls it at the 30. And Cade Sears is going to join the touchdown party on the connection from 64 yards out. No flags on the play.
Well, here come the big plays. It's like raining threes from, 20, 25 feet. You hit one, and we'll hit one, and we'll answer. And now Harlan with the next big answer. And Kasserbauer laid that up perfectly, didn't he, Trev?
That was what I think the kids call a dime, Brian Bertini.
Wow, and it was perfectly led, and nice job by the receiver to pull that in and out. Sears did a good job of that. And also credit to the offensive line, not getting the holding penalty and bring that one back. And Harlan finds themselves back on top.
So Stephen Lynon will come off for the point after try. Cade Sears, another player expected to have an increased contribution in the lineup this year. Had a great baseball season for the Cyclones. And Lyon's point after try is blocked.
Now that just didn't get up very high. The first one barely got over the crossbar. They got their first extra point. This one really never made it above the line. And let's see if that plays later in the game here, Trev. You don't really want to start chasing points now, but that could have a big impact later, couldn't it?
Cade Doolittle is the one Jack Doolittle is the one who got the block. Nick Stavas, I know you promised me a push-up for every point on the board. Are you ready to get to work?
Yeah, that's definitely not going to happen, but I
think we might have dropped Nick for a moment there. We were doing so good.
Sorry, guys. I have to stand in the exact right spot in order for this to work. One thing I will say is that ball is absolutely perfect, and Cade Sears just absolutely burned his man right there. And, all of a sudden, this went from a 0-0 game, and then in the last minute and 36 seconds, we have 20 points scored. This is more like it, guys. This is what we came here to see, and this is what's going to keep happening if these defenses don't change something.
Yeah, how about a minute 28? There was a touchdown with 11:52 is when that crossed the end zone, and we're 10:24. We've seen 3 touchdowns in, I think, 4 plays.
Well, let's don't forget, guys, these are 2 good defensive teams. This is not like teams that are just offense. These are really good defensive teams. This just outstanding offense right now.
Here's Fedoni with a chance to field it at the 2 and gets up to the 18 before being brought down. And that'll be where Lewis Central begins their next drive. And coming up with a tackle there was Quinn Kester, the defensive back and wide receiver for the Cyclones. And now we'll see if Lewis Central has an answer.
I think Coach Cameron and his staff going to be patient. You don't need a big hit right here. They waited until they got in position last time, Trevor, to use that play action. I think you do some of the same things again. I think you start with another good dose of Caleb Moore, who's been really successful so far in his first half.
Yeah, they've used the run game to set up the pass tonight. See if that's the approach they have to start this drive. 1st and 10 from their own 19, 10-18 left here in the second quarter. And they will run it with Moore again. Moore with a nice hole up to the 25-yard line. So a gain of about 6. And, Brian, we talked about earlier, Lewis Central did lose some guys on the offensive line, but they've got a really good dude coaching those guys up front with Donnie Woods. Played Division I football at Maryland. Has coached collegiately at Iowa Western. And the Lewis Central offensive line right now looking pretty good.
Well, it's about getting off the line, getting into your blocks, holding your blocks, creating a seam. And Caleb Moore is doing a great job. And I tell you what a great opportunity as a play caller when you got 2nd and 5 or 2nd and 4 to work from.
2nd down, and they will hand it off Moore again. Close to the 1st down. Think he got it. He did by about a yard. It's to the 31-yard line.
So, you can get some big plays to get your scores, but you still need to rely on that ground game to kind of keep the offense or the defensive line honest a little bit. And, now you've had a couple nice runs, Trev. Don't be surprised if maybe Camrad goes up top a little play action here.
So a gain of 6 makes it 1st and 10 on their own 31-yard line.
You got Luau Maker out there, a one-on-one with the 6'7" receiver. Might be a good option here.
Low snap. Camrad will hand it off. A.J. Henderson got maybe a yard before being stopped.
I've been impressed by both teams tonight so far, Trevor. Neither teams have really kind of hurt themselves, put themselves on that long down and distance. You get 1st down, you get that holding penalty, and now instead of 1st and 10, it's 1st and 20. Makes it tough to do that. They've kind of always been on the positive side of that 2nd down.
2nd and 8 coming up for Lewis Central. Camrad in the shotgun, running back to his right. That's A.J. Henderson again. .8:30 left here in the half. Camrad will throw. Wants to size one up. Whitty again beat his man, but Camrad overthrows him. That had 6 written all over it.
And he knew it, too. It was just one of those. That might have been the case where the wind really pushed that ball. The wind behind him, that ball just kind of accelerated. But you're right. Whitty had 5 or 6 yards on the defender right there. If Camrad puts a little touch on that, Whitty probably runs underneath it, and we're looking at a Titan lead. But regardless, comes up short. Now a pretty important 3rd and long here, Trev.
So 3rd and 8 coming up for Lewis Central. And Brian, we've seen now Curtis Whitty's been able to get over the top a couple different times. Defensively, anything in game right now that you can do to try to prevent that?
I think a little bit more pass rush, make Camrad a little bit more uncomfortable in the pocket.
On 3rd down, they get home to Camrad, and he goes down. Garrett Osman brought pressure off the edge. The pocket collapsed. Osman slow to get up.
I think Coach Blatt probably thinking the same thing I was. We got to put some more pressure and get Camrad off his spot right there, and they were successful.
Osman now being tended to at the 27-yard line. That's a young man that, with Harlan, with what they lost last year, of course, they had Will McLaughlin at linebacker, who's now on the roster at Iowa State. Garrett Osman had a really big year, somebody that they're hoping to see a lot more from this year. Definitely don't want to see him down, which is the case right now on the 29-yard line. So 4th and 12 coming up, and I think we're going to have our first punt of the game here in just a moment. Let's go down to the sideline and see if Nick Stavas has got anything. Nick, what you got?
One thing I have to say is you have to give credit to these guys up front for Harlan, Zane Bendorf at nose guard, and Gunnar Schmitz at defensive tackle. Those guys have been in the backfield all night. And even if they don't get in the backfield, they get enough penetration to affect the run game. Lewis Central again struggling to run the ball. They did it already on the first drive, but since then they really have.
So Osman still being tended to, and he'll get up under his own power gingerly and be tended to. And again, you hope it's nothing too serious for him. A linebacker at 41 tackles, 7 for loss a year ago.
So here again, we played, it's been a while since the kicking teams have been out kind of on the field. Your punter probably, pregame was doing some punting, so he hasn't probably done anything, as far as kicking the ball for quite a while. So here's an all-important long snap and a kick, and with the wind behind, chance for the Titans maybe Trev to flip the field a little bit position-wise.
So Boston Hensley will kick things off, or punt things away, I should say, and that was not a deep pump by Hensley at all, and it goes out of bounds. Harlan's going to have the ball in Lewis Central territory, and I think about the 45 is where they're going to spot it.
Would be classified as a shank off the side of the foot right there, and a missed opportunity. Hensley was hoping to get something up in the wind up there and let it really carry. Instead, it goes off the foot, and boy, if you're Coach Blatt, you're just thinking, we just got the ball on the 45 on the plus side of the Titans, and they're back on offense again.
Nick Stavas, I know you're a golf guy. If I were to try to drive a golf ball, that's what it would look like.
Yeah, it would probably get.
So 1st and 10 for Harlan at the Lewis Central 45. 7:55 left here in the half. They'll hand it off. Curran has a nice hole. Gets up to the 40 before being brought down. So a game of about 5. And
yeah, nice little counter right there. Pulled the left side guard on a trap play. Got through. Got a good seal block. Curran, as you mentioned, found the seam. Nice opening run there, and a nice manageable second down here for the Harlan Cyclones as they look to see if they get some points here as we get it to about that midway point here, Trevor, of the second quarter.
Camden Cross got the tackle for Lewis Central there. 2nd and 5 from the 40. 7:20 left here in the first half. Had 3 touchdowns in the first 90 seconds of the second quarter. Kasserbauer rolling right. Pressure coming. Has to unleash one, throw it away. There was pressure coming up the middle. Kasserbauer didn't really have a pocket to step up in. And it's now a 3rd and 5 coming up for Harlan offensively.
Yeah, Parker Matteo right there did a nice job. The 6'2", 235 offensive line got right in the back. And that's the experience right there. Kasserbauer, he didn't panic, throw that in traffic. What did he do, Trevor? He threw it about 6-7 yards out of bounds. Get another one to live another day, right?
Yeah, it probably speaks to the growth that he's made as a quarterback, as a multi-year starter.
Trevor, it's 3rd, even if they don't get this one here, I wouldn't be surprised if Harlan maybe thinks about maybe two-down territory here.
Kasserbauer with trips right. Brad Curran to his left in the backfield out of the shotgun. And Kasserbauer goes left side. Sears deflected away. Nice deflection. They tried to go to Sears. Bryce Jawan is the man that gets the swat.
Well, he used all 6'1" of his frame right there, Trev. Nice job, nice timing. Because if he doesn't get his hand on that, I think we got 6 for the Cyclones.
So 4th and 5, and I think they might be punting the football.
Yeah,
Brian.
I think if they would have got a yard, if they would have got something and got close enough, Coach Blatt might have considered it. But I think here he's thinking, even if it goes in the end zone, I still pick up, 20 yards and make the Titans have to go at least 80 yards to get some points.
So Stephen Linen will punt things away for Harlan, and kind of a low snap. Linen has that one booted, and it'll take a hop and be fielded at the 12-yard line. And that'll be where Lewis Central begins their next drive on their own 12-yard line. 6:51 left here the first half. Trevor Maeder, Brian Bertini, Nick Stavas with you here tonight. We've got Nick down on the sideline. Nick, Lewis Central's kind of right near you right now. How big is this drive for them?
If this mic works for me, this is a huge drive for them, but also their defense is playing really well. I mean, aside from a couple big plays to Sears and Aiden Hall, they're really, they're doing a good job defending the pass. They're doing a good job defending the run. Both defenses have been quite impressive tonight. Aside from a few big plays down the field, they've been pretty stout on both sides.
Lewis Central starts this drive on their own 12. A.J. Henderson gets a carry, has an open lane up the middle. That closes up, and now before he gets to the 20-yard line. And again, Brian staying ahead of the sticks on first down.
Yeah, and Nick, to your point there, too, I mean, these are really good offensive teams, but these are good defensive teams. You don't win state championships without a really good defense. And both teams, these are just two teams that are really solid. They know each other real well, and the competitive nature of these guys right now, they're just battling, and we're seeing it on the line. We're seeing it in the special teams. We're seeing, in big plays. And, yeah, it's just been an excellent first half here by both squads.
Second one, Henderson gets the handoff, has the first down, and carries the pile a couple yards before being brought down at the 25-yard line. Yeah, to carry on that point, Lewis Central, they win a state title with a goal line stand against Cedar Rapids Xavier in triple overtime. Harlan had a pick six early on in their state championship game with Aiden Hall, who also had a pick six in the state semifinal game. These offenses are very, very good, but don't be fooled. There's defensive talent all over. Aiden Hall is going to play on the defensive side of the football in college, by the way.
Yeah, and again, coaches are really good at this level of putting players in spots where they're going to be successful, and both teams have done that. We're seeing that on full display here tonight.
Fresh set of downs for Lewis Central at their own 25-yard line. Camrad will run it again. This time they feed Moore. Very patient is Moore. He gets brought down, though, after a couple-yard gain. Aiden Hall says hello to Caleb Moore and drives him back about a yard.
Well, but next man up mentality for the Titans. I mean, Jonathan Humple, again, maybe a potential D1 running back, not in the lineup, and he's a guy that's got game-breaking speed. You just say, Caleb Moore, we need you to step up and fill in, and he's done it adequately, more than adequately tonight, hasn't he?
I believe Coach Todd Blatt would call Caleb Moore a thunder thumper. That's the word he used a couple of years ago to describe Logan Katzer, who was a very similar type back to what we've seen from Moore tonight. 2nd and 6 from the 29. Shotgun look. A.J. Henderson's the man in the backfield with Camrad. And they will play action. Camrad wants to uncork one. Fedoni beat his man, and he's got Luciano Fedoni incomplete, in and out of his hands. That was another one that might have been 6, but Fedoni can't hang on to it.
Well, Will Arkfeld, the Cyclone, number 18, the Cyclone defender, has been kind of the recipient. He's been the guy that's been kind of on an island out there. Both the last 2 passes, if Camrad finds that spot, probably looking at 6. And again, they must like something they like on that matchup right there. And, boy, Fedoni, we haven't called his name too much tonight, but that was a golden opportunity. Just couldn't get the balance and track that ball. And now Titans looking at kind of a 3rd and long here, Trev.
Yeah, that's the first target for Fedoni tonight. 3rd and 6 coming up from their own 29-yard line. Camrad out of the shotgun. A.J. Henderson on his left hip. Pocket collapsing. Camrad trying to make a play. Keeps his eyes downfield. Throws across the middle of the field. It's underthrown. Trying to go to Luau Maker. Kind of a dangerous play for Camrad to throw across his body in the middle of the field while being chased.
Well, he's got the arm strength to do that, and he trusts his receivers. And he noticed when he did that, the receivers are on their way back to the ball, which is what you're taught to do. They just kind of died right there and kind of inadvertently. Lucky probably for Lewis Central, it didn't get tipped up in the air. So now we're going to see a punt here. Again, I think Boston Hensley is going to probably do a little better job this time of making some good contact on this one.
That's at least what Lewis Central is hoping for. 4th and 6 on their own 29-yard line. That is a high punt with a nice spin on it. Brad Kern thought about fielding it, but will back away, and it is down at the 26-yard line.
Well, that looked like a nice spiral right there. He didn't get it quite to turn over right there, but a great job, and that's more what Boston Hensley wanted. So they get the job done. They didn't get the first down, but they did get on the other side and make Harlan now have to start from about their, 27, 28-yard line. Neither team tonight, Trevor, used a timeout yet.
No, haven't needed to. And, yeah, they will spot the 28, so 1st and 10 for Harlan from their own 28. 4:38 left in the first half. Cyclones leading 13-7. Kasserbauer in the I formation. Kenkel and Curran back there, and he'll give it to the fullback, Kenkel, who gets a yard or so, and it'll be 2nd down coming up.
Yeah, a little bit maybe more of a cautious look to this drive here. I don't think Coach Blatt and staff wants to make a mistake deep here and give the Titans something positive. They do help. Harlan does have a 13-7 lead. And you'd like to get out maybe more toward midfield before you maybe take a shot, Trev.
Yeah, Lewis Central will get the ball to start the second half, so that probably goes into the thinking a little bit here. And we'll get an illegal substitution call on Harlan. Will back him up 5 more yards.
Yeah, I think I heard somebody in the crowd, they had 12 in the huddle, broke the huddle, so there's that. So it's a dead ball foul. And probably one of the first times that Harlan's been kind of in a really 2nd and long here, Trev.
And, Brian, if you're Lewis Central, you're thinking about maybe an opportunity to go 2 for 1 here with 4 minutes left here in the half.
Yeah, and if I'm Coach Blatt, I'm going to see Mr. Aiden Hall. I'm going to see if I can get the ball in his hands in space and see if he can't maybe make something happen.
2nd and 13 now for Harlan on their own 25-yard line. Lewis Central showing an 8-man front. Pressure up the middle. Kasserbauer gets it away to Birch. His first catch of the night. That's jarred loose. They haven't blown that one dead yet. Birch is going to jump on it. back at the 18-yard line. So what looked like was going to be about a 3-yard gain maybe ends up being a net loss for Harlan.
And good job by the officials not to blow the whistle, Trev. They let it play on, and both teams realize that that's a live ball and a fumble. And fortuitous bounce. Birch, what a great job by him to get up off the turf, Trev, and get back on that. Otherwise, Titans are looking at, having the ball deep inside Cyclone territory right now. Really a 3rd and long. Possibly a screen pass here, maybe?
Yeah, I think probably something like that. 3rd and 21. 3 minutes to go. See if Lewis Central uses a timeout here if Harlan doesn't convert. Kasperbauer will throw one deep to Hall. It's intercepted. Picked off by Curtis Whitty. He's got his second one of the night, and he's up inside the Harlan 30 to the 28-yard line. Nice coverage there defensive by Lewis Central. They knew Hall was probably the target. Whitty kind of playing like a center fielder. They're able to get the snag.
Yeah, that ball kind of sailed a little bit there. I don't think Kasperbauer got it in the right spot he wanted to. Hall drifted on him. As you mentioned, 2 blue shirt Titans right there defensively, sandwiching Aiden Hall. And Whitty comes up, and now the Titans back in business. So basically, if they would have recovered the fumble, they'd be about where they are right now, wouldn't they?
Yeah, it'd be, I think, right at where it was. So they're now at the 28-yard line. 1st and 10, 2:49 left here in the first half.
We've seen the last couple times the matchup on the outside. Fedoni and Whitty both beat the defensive back. Let's see if they go up top again.
They will run it on the first play, and not much there for the taking as they went to Caleb Moore. I don't think he got anything out of that.
Actually,
he didn't.
I don't think that was more on that.
I think it was.
Okay.
2nd and 10 with 2:29 left.
Again, both teams with 3 timeouts, so Coach Camrad does have those timeouts if he needs them in his back pocket as we get down to that 2-minute mark here. And Titans would love to get some kind of points out of this here, Trev.
2nd and 10 for Lewis Central from the Harlan 28. Camrad out of the shotgun. Play action. Takes a hit as he throws, and it's incomplete over the middle of the field. Whitty and Fedoni were trying to create separation, but Camrad just didn't have anywhere to step into.
Brenton Bally right there, Bally, did a great job of wrapping up and not letting Camrad step into that throw. And he had a receiver open, but then Bally closed it up, and now a 3rd and 10. For the Titans.
Okay, so 3rd and 10 coming up for Lewis Central. 2:05 left here in the first half, down 13-7. Camrad, it looks like, will work out of the shotgun. Henderson on his right hip. They'll put a man in motion. Pressure coming from all over. Camrad on a screen. Dangerous pass to Henderson was almost intercepted by Matt Sorfundin. And it's 4th down. Brian Bertini, this would be a 45-yard field goal from here.
Well, and Hensley's got the leg for it, and I think if it would have been 4th and 6, 4th and 5 or something like that, I think they would have probably went for it. 4th and 10, you want to at least on the turnover, Trev, see if you can get something positive and get some points.
So 45-yard field goal. Luciano Fedoni will hold it. He had a long of 50 a year ago. Did miss one last week. That kick, no doubt about the distance. And not much doubt about the accuracy either. Boston Hensley boots it through, and it's 13-10. Lewis Central and Brian Bertini. It's not the 6 or 7, but you'll take the points, especially when you get the ball to start second half.
You want points off turnovers, and that's huge right there. And they got something deep inside the Cyclone, territory. They got to come away with some points. Good stand by the Cyclones to only give up 3. But Boston Hensley with a 45-yard field goal, and that had plenty. There was no doubt on that one, was there?
Not at all. Nick Stavas down the sideline. See if we've got him. Nick, what's going on?
Yeah, guys, this is just a masterclass in defensive coaching by Todd Blatt and his staff right now. Just being down here on the sideline and being able to see some of these blitz stunts that they're running between the middle linebackers, the outside linebackers, the defensive ends. They're moving guys all the time. It really is making Camrad and the rest of the offense confused, and I think that's why Camrad had to run for his life so many times on that drive, because this defensive, they're not necessarily beating the blocks. They're just running such good stunts that this offensive line is confused. The assignments are off, and that's why Harlan's defense is playing so well in this first half.
So 1:54 left here in the half. Boston Hensley will kick things away for Lewis Central.
Well, and I tell you what, too, with the big play capability of the Cyclones, the way they can go up top, I mean, it's not unlikely if they get out and make a little, a good first down play or something, Trev, they don't start taking some shots. They're not just going to go into halftime, trying to run out this 13-10. I think Coach Blatt would love to see if they get some points on here before halftime.
So Hensley will kick it away. Will Newharth among the returners. I think Kate Sears, the other man back there for Harlan, and that one will be a touchback. 13-10, Harlan leading.
Now, the only thing that might play into your mind here is that Casper Bauer has thrown 2 interceptions tonight. The one was a tipped one. We get that. But that one there was one he did kind of force that into double coverage, even though he was trying to go to Aiden Hall. So, now, again, if they can get out around the 35 or 40, though, then I think you're a little bit more, thinking that you might have a pretty good shot to see if you can take a big chunk. And they do have all 3 timeouts, Trev, so they're able to stop the clock if they need to.
Casper Bauer out of the shotgun to start this drive. Curran on his left hip. Harlan will begin this drive on their own 20, up 13-10. They put a man in motion. It's Hall. Screen to Curran. Has screen in front of him. Has blockers as well to the 30, to the 35, to the 40, to the 45 before being brought down out of bounds by Peyton Ludington. But a big gain on first down. And Brian Bertini, the Cyclones, already up near midfield.
Well, there's that play. A nice play call right there. They caught the Titans in kind of a stunt right there. Curran did a nice job. Nice job by Casper to kind of backpedal right there, kind of bring the lineman to him, Trev. And good out front blocking. Had some blockers out in front, as you mentioned. Now, Cyclones definitely have a chance here near midfield to see if they can put some points and increase their lead.
They've got it 1st and 10 from the 46, a minute 44 left in the half. Lewis Central will get the ball to start the second half. Casper Bauer with Kinkel in the backfield with him. Throws left side. Sears had to come back for it, but he's out of bounds. Incomplete. They're going to say he juggled it.
Yeah, the ball just kind of sailed again, thrown in that wind. The nose didn't get down into the wind, and it just stayed up. Sears trying to tiptoe along the sideline, Trev, find the ball, find the line, get his foot down, kind of juggle it out of bounds, incomplete. But it stops the clock. And, again, Harlan not backing away here, coming out throwing here with a minute 39 to go.
2nd and 10 for the Cyclones on their own 46-yard line. My very unofficial statistics has Tegan Casper Bauer with 129 yards passing tonight. Empty shotgun, 3 receivers on the left side, 2 on the right. Now he'll put Newharth in motion, move him left to right. Penalty marker comes in. They get Kate Sears over the middle into Lewis Central territory at about the 45-yard line. I wonder if Newharth wasn't set.
Well, that's usually like a legal formation right there because the play kept going. I think we got a legal formation. I bet they didn't have enough men in the line of scrimmage.
We'll see. It's going to be on Harlan, we can tell you that much. Illegal shift. That'll back him up 5 more, so Harlan will move back to their own 41-yard line. 2nd and 15 coming up.
And that negated a pretty nice play right there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we're put into Lewis Central territory.
But with the arm strength of Casper Bauer, I mean, there's a breeze, but he's got the ability to throw into tight coverage right there. So I love the fact that Coach Blatt and them are confident enough to give him the play calls, to try to find that receiver and try to find a way to get some points on the board because I think they know you're going to need every point you can get here in this ball game.
Harlan still has all 3 timeouts. Minute 20 left here in the half. Casper Bauer throws left side. Jump ball. It's one on the sideline, but incomplete. Cade Sears tried to haul it in, but again, he was out of bounds, and it's 3rd and 15 coming up for Harlan with a minute 12 left here in the half.
Sears and Boston Hensley wrestling away. Hensley actually came down with it, but he was out of bounds. But now a pretty important 3rd down here, Trev. 3rd and long, in fact.
3rd and 15. We'll see if Harlan takes a shot here. Maybe they
and if they run it and they don't get the first down, Lewis Central is going to call timeout because they've still got 3 timeouts and they're going to get maybe favorable field position.
See what they draw up here on 3rd and 15. Passing play, Casper Bauer throws into double coverage, incomplete. Trying to go on the left side.
He's trying to go to Aiden Hall.
Yeah, trying to go to Hall, but it's incomplete.
So Lewis Central didn't have to burn a timeout to kind of preserve some time on the clock. They got 1:06, Trev. They're going to force a punt. There is a little bit of breeze. They're going to be kicking into the breeze. 4th and long. If you're Lewis Central, do you maybe try to push a little bit on this punt and see if you can maybe influence this on the kick here?
I wouldn't put it past him as Stephen Linen will punt it away. 1:06 left here in the half. Luciano Fedoni stands on the 29-yard line ready to return this. Not much pressure from Lewis Central on that punt, and it'll take a bounce and be, oh, it stayed in bounds. I thought it was going to roll out of bounds, and now Lewis Central's going to have it at the 11-yard line.
Well, that changes a few things, too. If it's out near the 30, I think you're probably more apt to think about maybe taking some deep shots with the speed. You've got, Whitty and Fedoni. Now with a 55, you probably want to avoid giving Harlan a free chance to get some points. You are, as you mentioned, Trev, if the Titans are going to start the second half with the ball.
I think this first down play dictates the rest of that. I mean, if you get a 15, 20-yard gain here on first down.
And if Caleb Moore, if they run a play and Caleb Moore, as you mentioned, gets 10, 12, maybe moves the sticks, then you might thinking, because you do have 3 timeouts, then you might be thinking about we do something here. So you're right. This first play of this possession here could determine if the Titans are going to go into halftime or take a shot.
So 55 ticks remaining. They will run it with Henderson, who has a nice hole up to the 20, the 25, and then gets brought down out of bounds near the 30. I believe he was brought down out of bounds. That would stop the clock if the case, and it's at the, move him all the way up to the, right at the 30-yard line. So it stops the clock. 47 seconds left here in the half.
So 18 yards, and now you're in a position with the arm strength of Camrad, and as you mentioned, 47 seconds, 3 timeouts. Now you got some options, Trev, and you got a really good field goal kicker, so if you want to just get 3, you can find your way to get in position.
Camrad dumps one to Parker Heller, who hauls it in, gets out of bounds, stops the clock, gain of a couple, make it about 5, actually.
So if we were putting on the telestrator the line, probably about the 35, maybe the 36-yard line is the target line, I guess, if you want the ball to give Boston Hensley another chance
to at least give him a shot. Career long to match that, you need to get to the 33. 44 seconds left. Camrad with pressure coming. He gets sacked at the 25-yard line. Camrad goes down. Gunnar Schmitz with the stop. And Lewis Central might.
That sack right there.
That might change things.
Yeah, that might just say, we'll go into halftime as it is right now.
So Gunnar Schmitz drops Camrad back at the 26-yard line.
You maybe take one long shot, and if it happens to be intercepted, it ends up being like a long punt. So we'll see what they decide to do here.
There's a 3-second advantage from the play clock to the game clock, and I think they're content to run this one down. Brian, I think honestly if I was Harlan, I know there's some gamesmanship to that. I might have called a timeout just to make them run a play. But that's not what will happen. We'll go to the break. 13-10 Harlan leading Lewis Central. This has been a fun one, a night of champions here at Council Bluffs. We'll catch our breath. Halftime coverage coming up here in a few minutes on the KMA video stream. Welcome back to Council Bluffs here on the KMA video stream online, KMAland.com. Trevor Maeder, Brian Bertini, Nick Stavas here with you tonight. We're at halftime of this Night of Champions showdown, 13-10 in favor of Harlan. As we start the second half, Brian Bertini, we saw a lot of big plays. We've seen a lot of miscues on both sides as well, but still 24 minutes of football left to play.
Yeah, there was just that spurt right in there that started that second quarter, Trev, where both teams went on a scoring spree. Then it kind of settled back into that kind of, a little bit more defense kind of having some influence. We saw some good sacks by both squads there, forced some, field position changes. And Lewis Central now starting the second half with the ball. Let's see what they decide to do. And I think we're in for a great second half of football here.
Yeah, some stats of note so far in the first half. Lewis Central had 96 rushing yards, 85 passing yards. Harlan, meanwhile, 71 rushing yards, 129 passing yards. Of course, there were the big touchdown plays. Tegan Kasserbauer hit Aiden Hall for a 24-yard touchdown. 2 plays later, it was Braylon Cameron to Curtis Whitty for a 64-yard touchdown, and then Kasserbauer responds with a 65-yard touchdown of his own to Cade Sears to give Harlan the lead. We're underway to start the second half, and that kicks into the end zone for a touchback. Lewis Central is going to start this drive on their own 20. Again, Trevor Maeder, Brian Bertini, Nick Stavas here with you tonight. So let's see if we've got Nick down the sidelines. Nick, I know you had a chance to kind of look and see both teams that were getting ready in the second half. What stood out? All right, maybe we don't have Nick. Thought maybe we did, but we'll try to hear from Nick at some point here early on in the second half. 1st and 10 for Lewis Central from their own 20-yard line. Cameron out of the shotgun. They will hand it off. Moore breaks out of a high tackle, gets the 25 before being spun down to the 26-yard line.
Well, that's a great option, isn't it, to have a guy like Caleb Moore give him the ball and say, hey, can you get us some good positive yards here to start the drive in the second half? And he does that. He gets you 8. Now you're looking at a really nice 2nd and 2. Got some options here for this offense. Brandon Cameron's been pretty efficient tonight offensively, Trevor. A
gain of 6 makes it 2nd and 4. Actually, I recall it more like a gain of 8 makes it 2nd and 2 from the 28. Cameron will hand it off, and a gain of a couple on that one.
He might have got back to the line of scrimmage, so good job by, I think that was number 45, Zane Bendorf for the Cyclones right there, kind of stuffing that and forcing a pretty important, you hate to say it's this early in the game, but boy, for both squads here, pretty important 3rd and 2.
Okay, so 3rd and 2 for Lewis Central on their own 28-yard line to start this second half. Cameron, they will run it up the middle. Moore does a good job of keeping the legs moving, close to a first down. The Harlan side, of course, doesn't think they got it.
This is going to be really interesting to see what kind of spot you get here, Trev, where they mark the ball. And I think they're going to call it 4th and short. They're not even going to measure.
Yeah, so doesn't get it. And
Look at this.
4th and short from the 30, and Lewis Central lining up like they're going to go for it. And we get a whistle and a flag on the far side.
Well, that means probably it's a dead ball foul, which means you got false start. So could have been a conversion on a first down on a 4th and short. Now it looks like we're going to probably see it. Oh, they're going to call offside.
Oh, wow.
Well, they get it the easy way, don't they?
Yeah, you'll take that, and it moves it to the 35 and a 1st and 10 coming up.
I think they had the first down anyway, but it's just nice to get a few bonus yards and get it safely, not have to worry about a potential measurement. And that's a gutsy call right there, and you're deep in your territory in the start the second half, isn't it?
It works, so at least being able to draw them off sides. 1st and 10 from the 35 now for Lewis Central. A run play here with Moore. Gets maybe 2 before being brought down. It'll be 2nd and 8 coming up.
Probably safe to say if we haven't seen Jonathan Humpel by now,
yeah,
probably won't. So one of those precautionary things you'd like to save him for some games that, become definitely meaningful when you get into your district games. But Caleb Moore's been up to the task in more than some tonight.
2nd and 7 coming up for Lewis Central. They're going to have it on their own 38-yard line.
That guy's been pretty quiet tonight. Lucy Fedoni's been pretty quiet. They only targeted him a couple
one
times.
Target.
And he had a touchdown potential catch. He just couldn't ring it in.
He's lined up on the left side of your screen right now. 2nd and 7 from the 38-yard line coming up for Lewis Central. First drive of the second half. Play action. Camrad Steps into one, and he overthrows Curtis Whitty. Had him as well. That might have been another one that would have been 6, but just a little too much on that one. Brings it to 3rd and 8.
That's an impressive throw. There's still a pretty good breeze. He threw that about 45, 50 yards in the air easily and out through, actually, Curtis Whitty, as you mentioned. So now a 3rd and about 7 or 8 here, Trev, for the Titans.
That's a 3rd down coming up for Lewis Central. 3rd and 7 from the 38-yard line. So 3rd down. Camrad will throw. Pocket collapsing, got to make a play with his legs. Jumps out of one tackle, and Zane Bendorf says hello at the 42-yard line. So it's going to be a 4th and short coming up for Lewis Central after the stop by Bendorf.
Great job by Bendorf right there. Camrad had a seam. It looked like he might get close to the sticks, Trev, but Bendorf collapsed it, put him on the ground quick, and now, even though a little better field position, 4th and about 3 or 4, Coach Camrad's going to elect to punt this one and let Boston Hensley see if he can flip the field a little bit and put the Cyclones maybe inside their own 20.
Boston Hensley to punt. Not a lot of pressure from Harlan on that punt. High punt by Hensley. And it takes a hop and will then take a little bit of a Harlan roll and be down to the 28-yard line. And that'll be where Harlan begins their first drive of the second half. 8:58 left here in the third. 13-10 Cyclones leading. I think now we've got Nick Stavas. Nick?
Hey, Trevor, how are you?
I'm just great. Halftime, you had a chance to kind of see what both teams were talking about. What stood out?
Yeah, I think the main thing for Lewis Central is they had to remind their players that they're still in this game. They're trailing by 3 points. Their offense hasn't been able to move the ball well, but they're very much still in this game, and a couple big stops could put them right back on top.
So 1st and 10 for the Cyclones on their own 28-yard line. Kasserbauer out of the shotgun, running back to his right. And Kenkel put the ball on the ground. It takes a hop, scramble for it. The Harlan side thinks they got it back. We'll have to wait for the scrum to sort out. Of course, both sides are going to think they got it. I think Kenkel got back on it to save possession. That actually ends up being a gain for Harlan.
Crazy, Trevor. The ball kind of traveled with the massive bodies going forward, and nobody could get a really clean handle on it. And the fortuitous bounce, and as you mentioned, Kenkel able to cover it up, and what could have been disaster turns into a pretty decent game. Now it's 2nd and 5.
Yeah, so I think he chalked that as a 5-yard run by Kenkel. Makes it 2nd and 5.
I don't know if he had the ball the whole way, though, did he?
No, 2nd and 5 from their own 33. Kasserbauer in the shotgun, running back to his right. Passing play here out of the backfield was behind Brad Curran, and it falls incomplete.
Probably not one of the better passes that Keegan Kasserbauer threw right there. Threw it behind him, and Curran kind of had to adjust the body, and he's trying to look upfield to see where he's going to go. And so now a 3rd and 5.
Kasserbauer tonight, 6 of 16. Camrad, 4 of 12.
Both quarterbacks have hit a couple big plays. They both have the long score. Yeah, they've missed a few. And, again, looks like offense was going to be – this might be one of those 35-31 games, but these are really good defensive squads, and both these coaches' staff have figured some things out and made it life tough for the quarterbacks.
3rd and 8 from the 33. Kasserbauer throws. Hall had his man slip. He's got the first down, then some. Stays in bounds. Flag comes in. That might be on Harlan as Hall still on his feet, and the bodies will throw him down at the 48. But
Jacob Birch maybe blocking the back?
I think it might be, and that's a backbreaker for Harlan if that is the call.
Well, let's see if the ball did travel past the stick, so they might get credit for the first down.
Even more of a backbreaker, guys. Aiden Hall is down.
He does come back up under his own power, but a little gingerly getting up is the Iowa commit. And it is a block in the back on Harlan. And it's 5 yards from the spot of the foul. So it makes it 3rd down and
back about the line of scrimmage.
3rd and 5.
It's about a 10-yard penalty, I think, back because he got past the sticks.
Instead of gaining 5, you lose. Yeah,
it would have been it would have been a first down, but it negates it. So they kind of right back where they started.
So 3rd and 5 coming up for Harlan from their own 33. Aiden Hall still out there on the right side of your screen. Kasserbauer in the shotgun, running back to his right. That's Brad Curran back there with him. Kasserbauer, pressure coming off the edge. Wants to go to Curran. Curran had to come back to it. Incomplete. That was nicely covered by Peyton Luddington. Sometimes when you get a linebacker in pass coverage, that can be dicey, but Luddington did a good job of following Curran.
Well, Hall took 2 defenders with him, so they tried to go one-on-one right there, as you mentioned, with Curran. And nice defensive play right there. And Harlan's drive stalls, and we're going to see them get a chance to punt the ball away. They'll have the wind at their back.
So both teams start the second half with punts, 7:26.
And we played the first quarter. We didn't have a punt, did we?
No. Didn't have any points, though, either.
No.
So now Leinen will come on to punt it. And the always dangerous Luciano Fedoni back to return it. And they'll punt it away from Fedoni. Be out of bounds. And Lewis Central's going to have solid field position.
Stephen Leinen right there, kind of a shank off his foot as well. But, again, sometimes that's not a bad thing because you don't put the ball in the hand of a guy who's a game breaker and let Fedoni maybe get a seam and break one.
First and 10 from the 41.
Nick, I was going to tell you, if you can hear us, are you kind of surprised that the Titans offense really hasn't targeted Maeder and Fedoni here for quite a while, since early in that first quarter?
Well, I don't think they've been able to, Brian. It's like I said, the blitz stunts from this Harlan front seven are just getting to Camrad so quickly that they've had to run these quick hitters, just like this handoff up the middle. But overall, I mean, Harlan's defensive scheme has been so good since that first time they got beat over the top. I really don't think LC's had the chance to do that, Brian.
Good point, Nick. Good puck. Good job.
So a gain of a yard there by Caleb Moore to the Lewis Central 42-yard line. It'll make it 2nd and 9 coming up for the Titans.
At some point, though, I might take my shots. I got Luau Maeder there at 6'7" on the outside. Throw something on the outside, as you mentioned, and see if he can, at least get you some nice big chunks of yards and maybe move the sticks.
Camrad throws over the middle. Maeder wide open. It was dropped. Might have been a bit behind him, but that's that much open space.
Nick, if he catches that up, does anybody get him?
That is 6 if he catches that. That is absolutely 6. And Lou Maeder, he had one last week against Underwood in the back of the end zone that he wasn't able to grab, and he was just as upset right there. He was going untouched to the end zone if he catches that ball.
It almost looked like, Nick, he knew it, and he took his eyes off the ball a little bit and looked upfield to see where the seam was going to be.
He got too excited.
3rd and 9 now for Lewis Central after the drop from Camrad to Maeder. 6:42 left here in the third quarter. This game has been everything we thought it would be. Camrad, clean pocket right now over the middle. Whitty, sure-handed that time, but it's a first down at the 40 into Harlan territory.
And he beat Aiden Hall. He had a step. Whitty had a step on Hall. Hall's still a little bit gingerly, guys. Nick, any idea what you think that might be? I'm watching him right there. He's just going limping a little bit.
It looks like he just got rolled up on his ankle in that third down play right here on the near sideline. One thing I will say is that Lewis Central has found success over the middle on those last 2 plays, especially if Lou Maeder catches that ball. They haven't been able to get anything done lately, but across the middle, the field's wide open because that front seven is cheating up so much.
Play action here on first down. Camrad wants to throw the middle. He's got Fedoni at the 15 to the 10, and Luciano Fedoni down inside the 5. He's been silent until now, and Lewis Central has it down at the 1-yard line, it looks like.
Well, right on cue, Nick. Good job, Nick, recognizing that, and the staff, Camrad and the staff, trying to exploit that middle. They found something they like, but kudos to the Titan line. They've been able to give Camrad some opportunities to throw the ball.
Gain of 38 down to the 1. They'll go in a goal line package. Camrad on the keeper. He's into the end zone. Touchdown, Lewis Central. And the Titans have taken their first lead of the game with the 1-yard touchdown run by Braylon Camrad. He had some big touchdown rushes in their state title run last year. Gets one there.
A couple big plays. And able to recover from that Luau Maeder drop, and they convert the pass right there. Fedoni with a big run, and now this is a really big extra point, Trev, because this will put it at a 4-point game if they convert it.
So now Boston Hensley on to try the PAT. 16-13 our score. Hensley trying to make it a 4-point game, and that one no good. He missed it.
Well, nobody's really been successful kicking at this end, so a missed opportunity to put the Titan lead at 4. Now Harlan still within a field goal, Trev.
16-13 our score, 6:03 left. Nick?
Yeah, guys, I think they just need to back Boston Hensley up to 45 yards. But honestly, that this has become a complete chess match between the two coaches. I mean, both teams have such good athletes, they have such good players. So it's gotten to the point where it's the coaches against each other, who can have the better play calls, who can have the better scheme on defense here in the second half.
Well, right now, that last series, I think, goes to one up there by Cameron.
I think Justin Cameron got the better on that one. We'll see what Todd Black. I mean, these are two state champion coaches, guys. We got to remember that too. It's not just the athletes on the fields; it's guys with the headsets on the sideline.
So with 6:03 left here in the third quarter, Lewis Central will now kick it away. Braylon Cameron had the big third down conversion to Curtis Whitty, and then Luciano Fedoni with the 38-yard gain down to the 1-yard line. And Braylon Cameron able to find the end zone. Did so once last week, does so there as well. And now it's Lewis Central with their first lead of the night. It took them about 30 minutes of football to do that.
All that matters to one of these teams is they want to have the most points at the end of the night.
So Hensley now will kick it away, and Harlan with Newharth and Sears back to return.
I think it's important that Harlan at least gets something positive out of this drive here. Even if they don't get any points, flip the field and get some sustained momentum.
Let me fielded. How about that? Newharth, the 1-yard line, will get a chance to return this one. He's up to the 15. Trying to figure out where to go, but LC Special Teams closes the hole quickly. Peyton Luddington among those in there on the stop. Gets out to the 17-yard line. I think Caleb Moore was the other man that made the tackle.
That was a great kick by Hensley. Not only was it deep enough, but it was high, Trevor, and it allowed his coverage team to get down and really close the lanes. Those guys stayed in their positions, didn't give up a lane, and it really collapsed it down. And, they start now inside the 20 to the Cyclones.
So Harlan will have this drive begin at their own 17-yard line. 5:56 left here in the third quarter of this Night of Champions battle on the KMA video stream. In our partnership with LCTV here tonight. Kasserbauer in a pistol look. Two receivers on the right side. How about that angle on your screen right now? Birch and Hall on the right side. They will hand it off up the middle. Big hole, Kimball! And he tried to show his hurdling skills, and he lunges forward. It didn't look bad at all.
Nice burst of speed right there. I'll tell you what, the coverage you guys are getting online, the video, we get a nice monitor here. Audrey, Keegan, and Tristan group and Josh Allen behind us have done an outstanding job. So hats off to the Lewis Central crew here for providing crystal clear imagery. And I tell you what, it's phenomenal to get some nice different angles, isn't it?
Absolutely. And, you get Nick Stavas on camera. We always want that. 1st and 10 for Harlan from the own 32 after the 15-yard run by Kenkel.
I don't know if the people want that, Trevor.
I think there's some people that want that. Kasserbauer quick out of the backfield. Hall wasn't looking for it, and it falls incomplete. They wanted to go to Hall.
Brian, I have to ask you a question. Trevor, you might know this too. Is hurdling illegal in high school football? Because the entire Lewis Central sideline is livid that they didn't throw a penalty there when the Harlan player hurdled the LC defender there.
To answer your question, Nick, in the best way I can without having our rules expert, Ryan Matheny, with me, I know if the defender is standing straight up, yes, that is the case. I don't know in the situation where maybe they're lunged a little bit if that's the case, or if they're on the ground, of course, you can hurdle over them. So,
and there's probably some interpretation by the officials on that. It might be one of those where they're clear cut. Maybe they didn't get a good angle to see it, so they can't really call it.
2nd and 10 coming up for Harlan from the 32. Kasserbauer dumps it out. Hall in the flat. Gets about 5 or 6. And, Brian, one name we haven't called a lot tonight, and I mentioned him as a key player in the pregame, Jacob Birch has been kind of quiet.
Yeah, we thought he might be kind of a gem tonight, the guy that might rely on a little bit. We saw him have an impact early. He's been pretty quiet. But, again, we've still got a quarter and a half of football left, and he gets close to the end zone. He might be a guy you might want to rely on.
3rd and 3 from the 39.
I'm still, like I said, that missed extra point really changes a few things here in terms of how this game might finish.
Kasserbauer in a pistol look. He's got Kinkle back there with him. They're going to feed the fullback on 3rd down. Willie Kinkle close to the 1st down.
He didn't need a hurdle that time, did he?
No, I think he got it. Don't you just love a good fullback run play, Brian Bertini?
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Coach Blatt loves that term Thunder Thumper, and we've seen some guys the last several years, not only these two teams but around the area. And as a luxury to have as a coaching, know that you can get a guy the ball and get him going. And not only that, he's got ball security, Trevor. He's going to hang on to it and get that all-important 1st down.
First and 10 for Harlan from the 43-yard line. 4:50 left here in the third quarter. Kasserbauer in the shotgun, trips right. Kinkle back there with him. Screen play all the way to Kinkle, fullback screen. And he carries a defender near midfield.
It looked like it's going to be a 3-yard, gain. He turns it into about a 7-yard gain.
We'll set up second and short coming up. We'll see who they actually spot. They're going to spot it in Harlan territory at the 49-yard line. So 2nd and 4 coming up for the Cyclones. But Bryant really opens up the playbook.
Well, and a nice hands right there. That's a tougher pass than it looks because you're trying to throw over guys coming at you. You got linemen sitting there. You're trying to read your receiver. And it's always amazing to me that some guys those balls catch as much as they do.
High formation, and they feed Kinkle again. Get a couple yards. They'll set up 3rd and short, and we'll see if that's the approach they go here.
Again, neither coaching team, as Nick mentioned, these guys are championship quality caliber coaches, staff. Nobody's panicking. Everybody's just kind of waiting until things happen.
Brian, coach at the line, only person who's going to call.
3rd and 2 coming up for Harlan on the Lewis Central 49-yard line. I formation, and again, they'll give it to Kinkle. He's got the first down, and they just keep giving the ball to Big William Kinkle.
Nick cut out. Let's see if we can get you to get on that one again, Nick.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think a coach with the last name Blatt is going to be the only coach in the world that would run a fullback dive followed by a 5-wide set and a toss to the outside.
And they work
every time.
Yes.
That was something that Coach Kurt Blatt, Todd's father, going to the KMA Sports Hall of Fame in October. When Derek talked to him during the announcement, it didn't matter the year. They always tried to suit things to their personnel. There were years they were run heavy. There were years where they had guys that could throw the ball. We've seen that be the case the last couple of years. 1st and 10 from the 46 for Harlan. Kasserbauer over the middle. Sears hauls it in, has the first down, then gets brought down to the 33-yard line. But Kane Sears, who had a big touchdown catch earlier on of the night, moves the sticks.
Well, the case in point, the guy that Tegan Kasserbauer could break, Joel Osborne's record. When you got a guy like Joel Osborne under center, you're going to utilize that ability. And of course, they had receivers and stuff to go with him. So, again, you're seeing it here in fruition, and it rolled to a 13-0 record last year.
Yeah, and pretty dominant fashion. Well, an average margin to win by 38 points per game. Their one touchdown win over Lewis Central was their only one-score game of the year. It's 1st and 10 from the 32. Harlan is driving. Kasserbauer screens left side. Hall spins out of a couple tackles, then gets brought out of bounds.
He took a 1-yard, 2-yard pass and turned it into, with contact, yards after catch there again, Trev. Turns it into about a 4 or 5 yard gain and a positive thing. And again, another advantageous position here as they play in front of the sticks here to the Cyclones.
So to the Lewis Central 28-yard line, gain of 5 for the Cyclones. 2:20 left here in the third. They trail 16-13. Kasserbauer, pistol type look. 2 receivers on the left side. Oh, hand it off. Kinkle with a nice hole. And inside the 20, balls over one defender. William Kinkle will not be denied as he gets down near the 10-yard line before being brought down.
Well, you notice the difference right there. Kinkle's shoulders are parallel or horizontal to the goal lines. He got him going forward, and he was running downhill right there, and he just ran through 2 Titan tacklers. Impressive drive here. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, this is just really beautifully drive. Everything about it is just perfect.
Kinkle hit the truck button, 1st and 10, out of the 13-yard line. Again, another pistol look. High snap, and that might have been a saving grace for Harlan that there was movement.
Yeah, that would have been second. Kasserbauer was going to be scrambling right there, and if that wasn't called dead on the line for a dead ball, it was going to be 2nd and long.
I believe that was Austin Schumacher, the center, that was.
Well, 1st and 15 doesn't look so bad right now after that mishandled snap. Do you agree?
I would totally agree. So 1st and 15 from the 18. A minute 45 left here in the third. 16-13. Lewis Central leading. The Titans scored on their last drive. Harlan has moved the ball downfield with a heavy dose of the run game. Pistol look. Kinkle back there with Kasserbauer, but they're going to throw. And jump ball, Birch, incomplete. And that might be offensive pass interference on Jacob Birch, honestly.
Yeah, I think it was. He pushed the defender out of the way. Really, it was going to be a tough catch no matter what, but this is going to end up, I think, moving the Cyclones back here.
Yeah, Birch was being guarded by Boston Hensley, and they're going to wave it off. Ooh.
Oh, that's not going to make the Titan contingent happy very here. They must have considered it was a non-catchable ball.
But I'm pretty sure, and again, this would be nice to have a rule expert, that actually uncatchable does not apply in the high school game. But, we saw one earlier go the other way that probably should have been DPI on Lewis Central that was not called. So I guess in that regard we're even.
And that's a hidden break for the Cyclones, because if that's 15 yards, and that takes you pretty much out of maybe even the potential field goal opportunity.
You're looking at first and 30, second and 30 from the 33. Now you've got second and 15 from the 18. Play action, Kasserbauer rolling right. Throw there, and that time it is caught on the right side, and coming up with that one is Aiden Hall.
And there's the speed right there of Hall. He just ran his defender off, and you have to backpedal, and Hall able to stop, penetrate, or plant and come back. That's a lot of timing and practice between Kasserbauer and Hall. Wouldn't you agree, Nick?
Yeah, one thing I got to say, this drive is just so beautifully called, because as soon as they go to the outside, fullback.
3rd and 2 coming up for Harlan from the 5. Got to think you've got 2 plays here to get 2 yards. Kasserbauer, I formation. Kenkel and Curran in the backfield. They'll give it to Kenkel. Kenkel follows the hole that was left for him. He's close to the goal line, and they're going to mark him down short. But
I think
first
you
and goal.
Feed the horse that's gotten you there down the line. I think Coach Blatt's going to let him have a chance again.
Fresh set of downs.
I really like what the Cyclones do here. They go under center. A lot of teams sometimes still run that pistol thing where the ball is still 3-4 yards deep. They're getting the ball right near the line of scrimmage and this close. Maybe Kasserbauer tucks this himself here, Trev.
First and goal from the 1. Probably will be the final play, I'd imagine, of the 3rd quarter. And they'll hand it off. Kinkel, he is into the end zone. Touchdown, Harlan. How about that methodical drive from the Cyclones? They go 14 plays, 83 yards, and William Kenkel regains them lead with 12 seconds left in the 3rd.
Kenkel was responsible for a lot of those yards, and I think fittingly he gets to punch it in, and Harlan Cyclones potentially here going to end this 3rd quarter with a lead. Here's another big extra point coming up here.
And Leinen will bring out the swinging gate. That was a big boy drive. Kind of a high snap. Leinen gets it away and makes it 20-16 our score now with 12 seconds left here in the 3rd quarter. And Brian Bertini just said 14 plays, 82 yards, and it was run. Couple passes, but William Kenkel was the go-to there.
Yeah, and I thought one of the biggest plays was the 2 plays. One stood out. Aiden Hall's game when he got the ball near the line of scrimmage, got 5 or 6 positive yards. Kenkel on that little screen turned that into something that was about a 7-8 yard gain. And the no call in the end zone, Trev. Just don't forget about that.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that could have changed everything right there, Nick, if they call that pass interference.
Yeah, it absolutely would have. But I mean, that drive was just a thing of beauty, guys. They had cheated. They had the linebackers cheating in so much, and then with Kenkel, and then they would go to the outside and throw it to Hall or Curran, and then as soon as it came back in, it would. I mean, as soon as they started cheating the outside, they would run it again. I mean, the LC defense was just completely fooled on that entire drive. We'll see what Coach Camrad can come up with here, because at this point, guys, it's like I said at the start of the 3rd quarter, this is just a total chess match right now.
Well, I think one thing will bear watching here is the Titans will have the wind at their back as we go to the 4th quarter.
Now, Brian, the wind has switched. It's blowing the opposite direction than it was at the start of the game. You're a weather guy, so I don't know which direction that was, but the flags here are blowing the opposite way as they were before.
This kick be into the end zone for a touchback, so Lewis Central with 12 seconds left here in the 3rd quarter will start this drive on their own 20.
Activity there near midfield, and a couple guys exchanging pleasantries, I think, but no flag.
Lewis Central, of course, got a game under their belt last week against a very, very good Underwood team in Class 1A.
So, yeah, and think about that. They've had a chance to, and you guys mentioned this, I think, too, at the top of the broadcast in your pregame, is that Lewis Central's had a chance to kind of work out a few things. This is Harlan's opening game. Mm-hmm. So they're kind of, making some adjustments, Nick, as you mentioned, on the fly a little bit, and I think that made that last drive even more impressive.
Well, it's so impressive, but also because they have such a good core of players from last year. I think they probably jumped into this season with already an idea of what they were going to do.
Here's Camrad on 1st down. He's going to take a shot to Luau Maker, double covered, Flag comes flying in. 2 flags come flying in. Aiden Hall and Will Newharth were both in coverage.
Well, it's going to be hard to throw over the top of a 6'7" guy.
Yes.
And I think he did get some contact. He couldn't get up to get the ball. And so that one there is going to be a pass interference, and that will move the ball out for the Titans. And Luau Maeder coming up a little gingerly as well on his legs.
And Maeder, I imagine, will come out, and Lewis Central will move it up to the 35-yard line. 6 seconds left here in the quarter. They're going to have time for one more play.
Since it was a dead ball, I believe, and the pass is incomplete, I think the clock will start on the snap, correct?
Well, no, because it was first down to start a possession. Otherwise, yes, and they will just keep it with Camrad. Read option. He pulled it out late. It's maybe a yard or two, but not much, and that's how the quarter will end. So both teams trade touchdowns in the third quarter. We got 12 minutes left to play here in this night of champions. Which champion will come out on top, we'll know here in 12 minutes. 20-16. Harlan is leading Lewis Central right now. Gentlemen, this has been just an absolute war up to this point. As we go to the fourth quarter, having seen 36 minutes, where do you feel it's going to be won or lost over the next 12 minutes?
Are you asking me?
Either one of you guys.
All right. Well, I think it's obviously, again, going to be the coaching. I think with the way Harlan just walked down the field on that drive, I have to imagine Camrad is going to have to make some adjustments defensively. On the offense, I'm starting to wonder how much the absence of Jonathan Humple is hurting Lewis Central right now, because their run game is stalled out. The only offense they've been able to get is the pass game across the middle. And I have to think, if Jonathan Humple was in this game, the score might look a little bit different.
Yeah, it's so hard to tell.
I'm thinking that there's still going to be a special team play of some kind, whether it be maybe a punt return, something along that lines, kickoff or something that's going to kind of flip the script. And the guys like Fedoni, as you mentioned, he's got the potential anytime he's back for a punt or a kickoff to break it open and flip the game in a hurry, as he did on the opening game last week against Underwood. So I still think that the kicking game or the special team somewhere is going to have the big impact as we close in on this last quarter.
Well, Brian,
I think have bonus football.
Brian, I think it already has, hasn't it? I mean, it would be 20-17 if Lewis Central had made their extra point, so they'd only be down a field goal. I think the special teams have already played a huge part of it. One thing I want to say, guys, down here on the field, you just have to appreciate this atmosphere, and you have to appreciate what we're about to see in this fourth quarter, because this is as good as it gets in high school football.
There's a run by Caleb Moore on second down. He had a head of steam, turns into about a 5-yard run before getting upended, and third and about 4 coming up. And, gentlemen, I think this is a very big play here. Brian, if you're Coach Camrad, what are you drawing up?
I think, again, patience. You've had success with that run up the middle with Caleb Moore. Now you're in a position here where you can use Camrad's arm, and he's shown the ability to kind of get outside the pocket and make a few things happen too. It's got. Let's see if Curtis Whitty's the guy at the call here. He's matched up on 18 again, which he had some success in the first half.
3rd and 3, they will run it. Moore close to a first down. Second effort might have given it to him, but we'll have to wait for the spot. Of course, the Lewis Central side going to say he got it, but Brian, based on the original spot, I think he's about half a yard short.
Might be a half a football short.
And they're going to say he is, and this brings up a very interesting decision for Justin Camrad.
I think you
got to go for it.
4A state champ. I think you just say, we're lining up, we're going.
That's what they're going to do. Here we go. 4th and 1 from the 45, and on the run, Camrad on the quarterback sneak gets the first down.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. You got a pretty good-sized quarterback. You got a veteran offensive line right there. You just say, hey, we can get a half a yard.
Are you guys a little surprised they didn't measure that there?
I was close.
Nick, I've noticed in the last several years, you don't see a lot of measurements. I really wish they would. I would like to know the distance that I have to go, even if it's a half a football.
Fresh set of downs for Lewis Central. Play action. Camrad wants to take one to Whitty, and it is in and out of his hands, incomplete. That had 6 all over. Camrad took a lick as he stepped into that one. It's about the third time tonight that those two have been so close to connecting.
Had one. Whitty's had 2 off his hands. That one looked like the ball kind of changed angles, and I think Whitty had to kind of readjust, try to look over his inside shoulder. Then he went to out and just couldn't find the ball right there. But again, another opportunity that was so close right there for the Titans.
Camrad got popped as he stepped into that one.
Yes, he did.
2nd and 10 now from the 46 for Lewis Central. 10:35 to go here in regulation. 20-16, Harlan leading. Camrad trying to step up, gets brought down from behind. for the sack. A nice effort play there for Harlan. Matzler funded among those in there. A.J. Henderson chipped off the line of scrimmage but didn't follow through after that.
Good job, and Garrett Osman right there to wrap him up. And that time was just a good surge for the defensive line right there and gave Camrad nowhere to go, even with the good footwork he has. And pretty important 3rd and 16. Now you got the Titans kind of behind that down and distance, Trev.
3rd and 16 from the 40. Henderson on the right hip of Camrad out of the shotgun. Camrad will dump it out to Henderson in the backfield. Makes a man miss. Brought down to the 47-yard line from behind by Matzler funded. It's going to be 4th and about 3 coming up, gentlemen.
Well, that's a huge miss because if he makes the tackle, it's probably 4th and 7, 4th and 8, which probably predicates a punt. Now I think you're on that side of the 50. I think now you go for it. Here they go.
4th and 2 from the Harlan 46. 9.5 minutes to go. Lewis Central trying to hard count. Did the same thing earlier and still ended up going for it.
I got a 6'7" guy on the outside. If I just need 3 yards, I'm going to throw it up to the outside shoulder and let Luau Maeder just kind of go up and get me the first down here.
9:20 and rolling to go. Still 4th and 2 from the 46. Down to 5 on the play clock, and Lewis Central might burn a timeout. And Brian, I got to be honest with you, I'm not a giant fan of that in a game like this where you might need that timeout.
Yeah, and I also, when you try to do the hard count, one of your guys is kind of keyed up, and he just makes that little false move, and what goes to a 4th and 2 becomes 4th and 7, then it takes that opportunity out. I like to line up like they did the last time and just run the play. Trust your guys and go. Nick, what are you drawing up here on this one here if you're Lewis Central going to run an offensive play?
Well, I think they're going to have to try to run it up the middle. I mean, they haven't found much success to the outside unless they're going to, like you said, throw it up to Luau Maeder. But one thing I have to say is that Harlan's play defense has been so good. I mean, Todd Blatt has just been calling a perfect game on defensively. The new craze in football, the Sean McVay, Shanahan, but defensive play calling is just as important, and it is on display right now.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to how you get to 13-0 last year, and you got a chance. You're starting number 1 as the Class 3A team, and probably the odds-on favorite to maybe be a repeat champ.
I mean, this is a Harlan team that had a run of 4 straight shutouts during the end of their regular season and their first 2 games of the postseason. So, the offense, of course, takes a lot of the credit, but the defense no slouch either. And same can be said for the Class 4A state champion Lewis Central. But here we go, 4th and 2 from the Harlan 46, and Lewis Central looks like they're going to punt it.
There's still a lot of time in the game. That might be one of those where, you know what, we'll trust our defense too.
So Hensley will punt it away. They're going to try to pin him down. Jawan can't quite do it. And that's going to be a net gain of 26 yards on the punt. Harlan in business.
Well, that one
on their own 20.
One Hensley got the ball to turn over right there very nicely, and it just sailed on him down to like inside the 5, and they didn't get that bounce that was going to come back and kicks in the end zone. So big break for the Cyclones right there as they'll start at decent field position.
Guys, I have to wonder on that decision. I mean, it's okay to punt it there, but do you guys think that's a good decision with the way they watched Harlan run down the field?
That was exactly where I was going to go.
Well, I'm looking at the clock, Nick. There's still 9 minutes to go, and you got a couple timeout. I think it's one of those, hey, we can get a stop, get the ball back. We got offensive weapons. We can score.
Harlan will start this drive on their own 20. Kasserbauer takes a shot. It's incomplete. He wanted to go to Sears. Sears fell down trying to shake free of his defender.
And they've also have 2 picks tonight against Kasserbauer.
Yep.
So
probably should have had a third.
If Harlan wants to throw the ball, I think they've got some guys ball hawking in the back of that defense, Nick, that they're looking. They can come up and make a play as well.
8:55 left. Here in regulation, 20-16.
We might not
Harlan
have
leading.
the 100-pass game we saw last week, Trev,
No.
that ended at almost into the next day.
Yeah. It also had an hour and 20-minute delay to it as well at the start. 2nd and 10, that being Sioux City East Glenwood, by the way.
I was in bed by 10 that night.
Kasserbauer put it on the ground on the snap, and he gets wrapped up from behind. Parker Matteo among those in there on the stop, and it's a loss of 5 and 3rd and a long ways.
Well, there's one of the few mistakes that the Cyclones have made offensively, Nick, and now here's a golden opportunity for that Titans front front four maybe to get some pressure on Kasperbauer.
A little uncharacteristic, Brian. I mean, we typically see Harlan teams so disciplined and so sound in the fundamentals, but you have to remember, like you said, this is their first game of the year, and it's elementary to say it, but it's true. I mean, as soon as you get that first game out of the way, a lot of these mistakes will clean up. LC's already had a game, Harlan is not.
Yeah, there might be some fatigue. This has been a hard-fought game for these two squads.
3rd and 13 for Harlan from their own 17, and they're going to take a timeout. Kasperbauer will trot over to the sideline and talk to head coach Todd Blatt about what he
and I think
wants
that
to drop.
Goes to the fact, as Nick was talking about, that's the importance of this possession for both squads. If Harlan can find a way to even move the sticks and keep this drive alive, that really changes things. If Lewis Central gets a stop, they should get
probably going to
fairly
have good
decent
field position.
Yeah.
So 3rd and 13 here, gentlemen. You know, we just saw an errant snap take a fortuitous bounce, I should say, for Harlan. How aggressive are you here? Are you just trying to...
I got number 6 on my team wearing white. That's Aiden Hall. I'm going to get the ball in his hands right here, and I'm going to find maybe get him in space, throw something short. Even if he gets 5 or 6 yards, I feel a little bit better about not punting on his own. If he happens to break one, he could get past the sticks and keep the drive alive.
I think this is a situation where you're aggressive, guys. I mean, you really don't have a whole lot to lose. You're going to be punting deep in your own territory anyway if it's an incomplete pass. Even if you turn it over, throw an interception, and there's no return, it's just kind of the same as a punt. I think you have to try to get this first down. You're on the road at the 4A number 1, defending state champions. I think you try to throw it deep here.
We'll see if Todd Blatt agrees. 3rd and 13. Coming up for the Cyclones from their own 17-yard line. 8:12 left. They lead 20-16. They're in a shotgun look with 3 receivers on the left side. Put Kinkle in motion. Now they'll put Hall in motion. Fake the jet sweep to Hall. Pressure coming off the edge. Screen to Curran. Curran breaks out of a tackle. Up to the 30. Up to the 35. He's got the first down and then some. Bradley Curran up to the 37. And Harlan, the big gain on 3rd down.
Well, it was a nice play call. The Titans actually had it defended pretty well, Nick. You could see it from up here. They just missed a couple tackles. If they get the tackle, it's 4th down. They're punting. But Curran shifty enough, got through, eluded him. And he moved the sticks, and a huge first down for the Cyclones.
Yeah, it was a brilliant play call, absolutely. And if Kasperbauer puts that throw on the money to Curran, he probably breaks that for even more. But the throw was low. Curran hauled it in and was able to get the first down. A huge, huge play there.
Fresh set of downs for Harlan. 1st and 10 from their own 35. They'll hand it off. Kinkle gets a couple of yards before being brought down.
Yeah, he was a guy that we've called a lot in the second half. That 3rd quarter, he was a huge reason why Harlan was able to get that touchdown to put him in the lead. And again, I think you might see a little bit more heavy dose of Kinkle here as we come down the stretch here about halfway through this 4th quarter.
Gain of 3 makes it 2nd and 7. 7:15 to go in this one. 20-16 in favor of Harlan.
Not the high-scoring game that kind of looked like it might be there as we hit that 2nd quarter. This has been settled into just a great classic heavyweight fight here.
I'm sure my friend Tom Moore might be watching this one at home. This is Tom Moore's style of football game, no doubt. 2nd and 7. They'll hand it off Kinkle. Maybe a yard or two before being brought down at the 40-yard line. And 3rd and manageable coming up for Harlan. I know Ryan Matheny's watching at home, and at least I think he is, and he's got to be loving this game.
Matheny's in bed. What are you talking about?
He's got the Chiefs game on the side, too.
So 3rd and 5 coming up for Harlan. And, gentlemen, do you feed Kinkle again?
I mean, I think you have to. I think you have to try to get this first down. I mean, you're aggressive the first time. You might as well be aggressive here and just keep ticking time off the clock.
I still want to get Aiden Hall out in space. He's so good at getting away from tackle. He's got that breakaway speed. Nick, if he breaks one tackle out in space, nobody's going to catch him.
3rd and 4. Pass play over the middle. It's incomplete. Dangerously thrown to Sears. Owen Thomas just about had a pick.
Yeah, Kasperbauer just locked on Sears. He was looking at nobody else, and he forced that one in. One of the few probably mistakes that he made. He got away with that and falls harmlessly incomplete.
And Aiden Hall was open, Brian, on the other side of the field. You're right. He locked into Sears. They were trying to hit that quick hit slant. Aiden Hall was on the other side of the field one-on-one, and he was open on a just kind of corner punch route. And, Kasperbauer just didn't look his way.
Ryan Matheny does inform me he is very much awake. 4th and 4 from the 40. Harlan will punt it away with Steven Linen. High pump by Linen. Fedoni fields it at the 28, sliding on the turf to grab it.
That knuckleball into the wind right there, and the ball dying, and Fedoni trying to come up. And sure hands by him because that could have been disaster. If he fumbles that and that's a live ball, the Cyclones recover. That flips this game in a hurry.
So Lewis Central, Brian, 6:03 left here in this one on the 28-yard line. If I'm Justin Camerad, I'm treating this like maybe I'm not going to get another chance to get the ball back.
Well, and Nick brought up a good point. That extra point was huge. 3 points, you got Boston Hensley who can kick a ball, 40, 45 yards and tie the game. Now the field goes out the window. You got to think 6 on the touchdown.
So 6:03 to go, and they will run it with A.J. Henderson. Henderson, shifty up to the 35, puts a stiff arm on Brad Curran, and then they go out of bounds. They take a ref down with them on the Lewis Central sideline. Nice run by Henderson to carry Curran a couple of yards.
And the stiff arm, both players trying to fight the offense and defense, and just good aggressive right there. It's hard to call a flag right there because, both players are fighting. And, of course, the official falling down isn't going to be able to find out where the mark is.
No. They're going to spot the 35, so second and about 3 coming up.
Most important for the Titans, guys, he got the clock stopped, so it preserves that timeout.
5:57 to go. Camerad in the shotgun, running back to his right. They will run it again. Caleb Moore up to the 38-yard line. 39 has the first down.
Nick, I'm kind of surprised that the Titans have, they've had some success going on the ground, but they've kind of gone away from the air attack. We saw that third quarter where they were able to find some success over the middle.
Yeah, they're running a lot of these zone reads and zone blocking schemes in the run game, and some of them are working, some of them are not. I found when they get the ball behind the tackles, their tackles are doing a really good job, but the guards in the center are kind of getting blown up in the middle, so maybe that's something Camerad found, but I would expect them to go deep here. And right as I say that, he hands it off.
Yeah, they give it to Moore, who gets a couple more yards up past the 40 to the 42-yard line.
And maybe the one school of thought, guys, is that Coach Camerad's thinking if we can control this and eat the clock away and score late, we're not going to give the Cyclones much chance to score.
Yeah, that's probably part of the battle there, too.
Harlan's defense has just been so solid in the A and B gaps. I mean, LC has to run outside the tackles if they want to get anything on the ground game here.
2nd and 7 from the 42. Shotgun look for Camerad, running back to his left. He'll put a man in motion. Errant snap. And a whistle as well might have saved Lewis Central. It's going to be some type of illegal motion. We'll back him up by false start, rather.
Again, we saw one kind of go the way of the Cyclones. They were fortunate on that long snap over the head of Casperbauer, and here it kind of favors there because that's a loose ball, and it was going to be either a turnover possibly or second.
Third and very long.
Third and very long.
Instead, it's second, long at 12 yards. Clock will continue to run. 4:50 left in this one. This game has been as good as advertised.
And
look for Lucci Fedoni one-on-one.
We probably even picked up a few extra fans since the start of the game.
Camerad with a running back to his right out of shotgun. Low snap. Camerad wants to uncork. Went to Fedoni. Fedoni slipped. Newharth was in coverage, and it's incomplete.
Well, Newharth closed quickly right there. That was kind of a stop curl route right there, so Fedoni was planted, but Newharth was 5 yards behind, protecting and make sure Fedoni didn't go over the top of him. He closed that and really made that a tough angle for Camerad. So now, as you mentioned, pretty long and important third down. I still, if they don't get it here, Trevor, I don't think you can go for it on fourth. You're going to have to punt it away and do your best to see if you can get one stop and get the ball back.
So 3rd and 12 from the 37. Big down here for Lewis Central with 4:29 to go. Down 4. Camerad out of the shotgun. Harlan sends pressure. Camerad will dump it off Henderson. It's incomplete. And it's going to be 4th and 12 coming up. Harlan with the blitz. Somebody didn't get picked up.
Yeah, and if they would have got a positive gain and got it 4th and 7, 4th and 8, then I think they go for it. But you're pretty far behind the sticks right now, guys, and I think you're going to have to trust the punt. You're going to have to trust your defense, and you got a couple timeouts in your pocket, Nick, and hope that you can get a stop.
Oh, that was such an impressive defensive call there. It was an inverted blitz. The defensive end dropped back into coverage in the flats, and the safety blitzed off the edge in the delayed blitz. And Camerad was hurried. Nothing going for this LC offense right now, guys.
Hensley with the punt. Sears drops it, gets back on it, though, at the 18. That was almost a disastrous special teams play that we had talked about earlier.
That was close, wasn't it, Nick? That could have really changed the
well, and so was Fedoni's down here about 5 minutes ago. I mean, both of those. These coaches might need to talk about when you let the ball go on a punt.
Or in that case right there, if you're a Harlan guy, just fair catch it. Don't even worry about a return. Just secure the ball.
1st and 10 for Harlan. They'll be at their own 18-yard line. 4:15 to go in this one. Lewis Central has 2 timeouts left. Remember, they had to burn one earlier, try to draw Harlan offsides.
And they need a touchdown to take the lead. So that field goal out the window with the 4-point deficit.
They hand it off Brad Curran. He's got a big hole. Curran breaks out an ankle tackle, gets to the left side, still on his feet to the 30, to the 35. Trucks over a defender to the 45, and brought out of bounds. Colby Souther spins him out near midfield. How about Brad Curran with a 31-yard run?
Well, you got, as you mentioned, the semi-truck and Kenkel, and Curran with the shifty running right there. He picked up about 10 or 12 extra yards on that. Stayed in bounds, Trevor. That was the impressive thing right there. Tight rope down the sideline, and he's got the ball near midfield to the Cyclones.
To the Harlan 49-yard line. 4 minutes to go in this game.
Nick, if they continue to do that, we're not going to see Kaspar put the ball in the air the rest of the game, are we?
Yeah, I mean, that was just a perfect misdirection. Just a classic counter call to the single back. Perfect block. Great run by Curran.
He did get out of bounds, so the clock did stop. Now they'll hand it off Kinkle. He's got a big hole, tried to leap over a defender, but gets brought down after a gain of a handful. And now the clock will run.
Again, keeping it between the tackles right there, getting a positive gain, working ahead of the sticks. 2nd and 5 is very, very manageable.
I don't know if you guys could see it from up there, but the whole run from the offensive line was massive.
I think Brian Bertini could have ran through that.
I could have.
2nd and 4 coming up for Harlan from the Lewis Central 45.
And most importantly, guys, the clock is ticking down, and that's Harlan's favor right now as we get close to that 3-minute mark.
Gotta wonder if you're Lewis Central, how soon do you think about
I think here,
using the
if
timeouts?
it gets to be 3rd and long, I think you maybe burn one here.
They will hand it off. Hall trying to bounce off the edge, breaks out of a tackle, has the first down and then some. To the 30, into the open field, to the 20, to the 10. Aiden Hall might have had the dagger from 45 yards out, and it's a 2-score game in favor of the Cyclones.
Well, there we talked about, Nick. All you got to do is get him in space. He can make people miss, and then the burst of speed right there. There was defenders close to him, Nick, and about the 16, 18-yard line, he just ran away from people.
Trevor, I don't have the program in front of me. Whoever the receiver was lined up on the far sideline there, put an absolutely perfect block on Boston Hensley. Just great blocking, a great run by Aiden Hall. And the Cyclones may have just put this one away.
45-yard scamper by Hall, who's, I wouldn't say had like a really quiet night up till this point, but
big players make big plays when they need to, and Hayden Hall delivered right there for the Cyclones.
Now here's Lynan on the PAT. That one is up, and he knocks it through. 27-16 our score now, 3:08 left here in this one. And guys, I don't want to state the obvious, but Aiden Hall is very fast.
Very fast, and he's very strong, and he's very good at absorbing some contact, Nick, and keeping moving forward.
Yeah, and that was just a perfect one. Guys, one thing I have to wonder, I'm not saying this game is over yet. It's obviously still very much alive, but you just have to wonder if Lewis Central had Jonathan Humple tonight, if this would be a different game, because that piece of their offense has been missing greatly in this game so far.
Well, it changes things because then that's another guy that Coach Blatt and his staff has to account for offensively every time he's in the package. Not that Caleb Moore's done an outstanding job tonight, really getting some huge gains, but now you got a 1-2 punch, Nick, on the ground instead of just a one-man guy.
Well, yeah, Moore's done a great job. Jonathan Humble, Division I running back, though, and, with a guy like that out, you just have to wonder. It's tough. It's very tough for this Lewis Central team, and I'm sure he's struggling watching this. But
however,
this game is not over, guys.
This is August. They're also thinking playing for November.
If I'm Harlan, I try to kick it away from Luciano Fedoni, but that's not the case. He's got the 5. Fedoni up to the 25, to the 30. Kicker to beat. Fedoni gets by him to the 40, to the 50, to the 40, and Luciano Fedoni with the house call. We're not done yet, gentlemen. There are no flags on the field, and it's back down to a 1-score game.
There's a special team play that might have just jump-started, and there's still almost 3 minutes left, Nick.
Do you go 2 here?
You got to.
Yeah.
I think you got to.
Now you play the numbers because you need to get within a field goal, and there's a guy for the Titans that can kick about a 45 or 50-yard field goal if you had to, and now you just got to trust your defense to get a stop. Big 2-point conversion coming up.
So Fedoni with the kickoff return for a touchdown. He had one last week. Gets
You're
one
almost
here.
better if you're Harlan, Nick, on that one. Just kick it out of bounds and let them have the ball at the 35.
I mean, guys, when I say burst of speed, that was a burst of speed. He found one seam. It wasn't like that one last week, and I'll let you call it a 2-pointer here.
Camrad in the shotgun, and they're going to have to burn a timeout, and that's a big one.
I was going to say, though, Trevor, it wasn't like the one last week, remember, against Underwood, where he kind of was shifty. He had to find holes, and then he went. He found one seam. It was one cut, and he was gone.
Nick,
So,
if you remember, there's a guy that wore a Titans jersey a few years ago that was probably one of the fastest guys. That'd be Max Duggan.
Yes.
That's the speed that I just saw right there. Duggan was one guy that could have just exploded and just outrun everybody.
That Darren Sproles-esque, guys. Darren Sproles-esque is what I would say on that play.
yeah, I believe Cedar Rapids guy played at Kansas State. Gentlemen, now with that timeout, you've only got one left, 2:55 left.
Well, if you
Got to onside kick it, right?
If you get the 2 point, maybe you play defense. If you don't get it, you're forced you're going to need a touchdown, so you're going to have to onside kick to get the ball back. So, yeah, that's a huge play about not getting guys in play. And again, early season, you see that more, Nick. Players after a big play like that not getting set up to go for an extra point.
So they'll go for two. Camrad's got two guys back there with him. And Camrad keeps it on the RPO, or the read option, I should say, and he's in to get it down to a field goal game.
Well, you got 2:55. You got one timeout. If you do elect to onside kick and they cover, and you're still going to have to. You got one timeout. The trouble is there, guys, is that if you get the ball back, you might not have much time. You might be deep. If you kick it away with a guy like Hensley, he probably gets a touchback, so there's not going to be any time. You're going to force Harlan at least to start on their own 20.
Yeah, you're going to really – but, the flip side of it is 1 or 2 first downs with only one timeout. You don't have any way to stop the clock.
Well, either way, guys, you're going to rely – you're going to have your defense step up in here and get some stops. The first down play is huge if the Titans to stop it for virtually no gain or a small gain and then burn a timeout. But then put Harlan in the mode where they're going to have to run the ball and maybe kind of force to see if they can get, something on third down late.
One thing I have to say, guys, this is more like it, huh?
Yes.
I mean, you can't have a Lewis Central Harlan game without it coming down to the wire. This is exactly what we came here to see, and we're seeing it right now. And I can tell you right now, the probably 100 or so Lewis Central fans that filed out after that Aiden Hall touchdown are probably kicking themselves as they're walking to their cars right now.
Well, they may be coming back in. Hey, I love this environment. They got concessions. The Lewis Central people brought in food trucks to help. They've got massive staff helping with parking. And as you mentioned, guys, a premier marquee matchup. And the Night of the Champions, I think, has lived up to everything that we were hoping it was going to be.
2:55 left, and they onside kick it. A little bit of a surprise. Well, not really a surprise, but a quick onside. I mean, everybody knew it was coming, I'm sure. Brad Curran jumps on it.
You like that call, Brian?
I don't. It's a tough one to kind of execute early in the season. I don't think it went 10 yards.
But it shouldn't matter because it was fielded by.
He does field it, but I think the coaching staff of the Titans were kind of concerned about maybe where the Harlan Cyclones lined up the way they needed to be. And
well, the officials are conversing. So
we'll had the whistle blown and the play been put in play. So delay a game on the Titans.
Illegal pursuit. Yeah. So they ran a delay a game, I think. I'm not sure why they called that, guys. I really don't know. I'm trying to get some sort of earful here, but
yeah, they're. I don't know. We'll just have to kind of wait out. But then they're going to re-kick it.
You have to kick it again,
though.
though.
So yeah, they will re-kick it.
So did they try to run? Was that a case, Nick? They tried to run it down. The play clock was down. Tried to surprise the Cyclones.
I think you got to get deep here, don't you, Brian? 2:55 is a long time.
Yeah, and I got a guy with Hensley's leg who can kick it deep enough to pin him deep.
See what they do here. 2:55 to go. Again, 27-24. And again, they will onside kick it. It takes a roll. It's a rugby scrum for it.
Kind of a jailbreak onside kick, wasn't it?
The LC side thinks they have it.
I think Lewis Central has it, guys.
Survey says LC football.
Wow.
Bryce Jawan comes up with it. And oh boy. With 2:51 to go, the Titans have it
Well,
down
it's a
3.
jailbreak. They just got it going. They had the guys bunched up in that little conglomeration, almost like a rugby scrum. The ball was kicked. Hensley got a great topper, got that top spin, and they just kind of stayed parallel to the ball, Nick. And once it goes 10 yards, it's anybody's ball.
Well, and what a brilliant call by Coach Camrad. There's no rule saying you have to be set before a kickoff. They were just all huddled up, and then all of a sudden Harlan was just kind of caught not paying attention. They kicked it as hard as they could right at the Harlan front line. It bounced off a few players, and then all of a sudden it turns into a scrum, and it's anyone's ball. That's exactly what you want on an onside kick, and they did it to perfection there, and now they have a chance to go win this game.
They got a lot of time. They don't have to worry about holding it. They can still keep the ball on the ground.
And they will run it here. Henderson gets a couple yards back. Gotta hold on to the football, though, if you're Lewis Central. And now, guys, you're treating this like this is a final drive, no doubt.
Well, and the two things you can do here is you're within a field goal now after that 2-point conversion that puts you within 3. So you got to think, we're playing for 3. If we get a chance, Nick, then we can push for the touchdown and take the lead. But worst case, let's see if we get in a spot if we have to use our kicker to tie the game.
I hope they play for 3, guys. I want overtime. Why not?
We gain a yard, and we've got a Titan down on the sideline right now. If you're just tuning in, I don't know what you've been doing with your night. Hopefully something productive, because you have missed a doozy of a game. No score early on. Then we had 2 scores in the first 4 plays of the second quarter. It was 13-10 in favor of Harlan going into the break. Lewis Central scored early in the second half, took their first lead of the game. Harlan went down the field. They had a 14-play, 82-yard drive to take a lead off a 1-yard touchdown run by William Kenkel. They get a couple stops. Aiden Hall has a big run that gets up to a 1-score game. Thought maybe it was time to turn out the lights, and Luciano Fedoni returns a kickoff to the house, and LC recovers the onside kick. That was A.J. Henderson, by the way, that was the injured Titan. 2nd and 9 for Lewis Central on their own 49, 2:14 to go. Camrad over the middle, deflected and incomplete. Tried to go to Luau Maker.
Well, he had to get rid of that in a hurry. There was a lot of white shirts converging on him in the backfield, Nick.
Yeah, guys, Schmitz, number 53, has been a beast tonight. I mean, he has been in the backfield on every single play. They're moving him around, which I think is brilliant. They're not keeping him in one gap. Just about every single down, he's in a different gap if you pay attention, and he's making some huge plays tonight.
Yeah, he just pinned his ears back and was going full steam back to the quarterback.
3rd and 9 from the 49 for Lewis Central. Camrad over the middle. Whitty, high points the football, hauls it in, breaks out of a tackle, breaks out another tackle to the 25. Whitty out of another to the 20, inside the 20, still on his feet, brought down to the 15, and a gain of 36 on 3rd and 9 has the Titans in the red zone with 2 to go.
Well, now you're in definitely field goal position, guys, so now you got that, as long as you don't turn the ball over. I think you got 3 shots, legitimate 3 shots here, take to the end zone.
What a play.
Where's my 6'7" receiver? What a perfect opportunity right here for Luau Maker to make a play. You said, Nick, he had an opportunity last game to catch a touchdown in the end zone?
Put Whitty in motion. Camrad will run it. Camrad's got blockers. Camrad brought down from behind inside the 5. Gentlemen, I think we're going to see a couple of run plays here.
Well, they might want to whittle the clock down and not leave the Cyclone. So I think probably Caleb Moore might be the recipient of the ball carry right here.
2nd and
if you're
Where's that
Harlan, all
one?
you're thinking right now, guys, keep him out of the end zone, at least force the worst case scenario, get him a field goal, we'll go tied.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking high school kids, never know what's going to happen on a situation like that. 2nd and 1 from the 6. Camrad will keep it. Camrad with the hole, and he's in. Standing up, touchdown, Lewis Central. The Titans were down 11 just 2 minutes ago, and now they're up 3, 4 pending the PAT with a minute to go.
Here's a big extra point. That was on that onside kick. The special teams might be the difference now on that onside kick recovery, but here's a big one here because now, if this is converted, Harlan has to score a touchdown.
So 30-27, Boston Hensley will come on for the PAT try. Under a minute to go. Bad snap, and Fedoni got rocked from behind by Garrett Osman, and now, gentlemen, it stays at a 3-point game.
That is the worst possible time to have a bad snap on a PAT. Wow. That just changed this entire final drive for the Cyclones.
And the Cyclones, they have a capable kicker of themselves too, don't they?
Yes, they do. Stephen Leinen has had some kicks last year, went 6 of 8 with a long of 47.
Nick, we're not done yet, are we?
So 30-27.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, I mean, what was it? Just 3:08 left in the game, right, Trevor? That I was just talking about. Fans were filing out. Yeah, here we are. 2 minutes and 9 seconds later, and Lewis Central has the lead.
And the Cyclones, guys, they still have 2 timeouts. They've got opportunities to stop the clock, and they've got receivers with breakaway speed of their own.
So now Lewis Central will kick things away. 59 seconds remaining.
There's a lot of fans on both sides. That the seat. There's not many people on their bottoms right now. Everybody's standing up because nobody knows what's going to happen, Nick.
Last year, Lewis Central was up 2 scores on Harlan. Harlan had a 22-7 fourth quarter to stun Lewis Central. There was some controversy at the end of that game with a drop pass in the end zone. Tonight, Harlan was up 11 with 3 minutes to go, and Lewis Central now up 3 with 59 ticks remaining.
This is one where Hensley's just got to make sure he gets good foot. Put Harlan back on the 20. Trust your defense.
Hensley kicks it away, and that's a touchback. Harlan will begin this drive at the 20, and gentlemen, as you alluded to, 2 timeouts. So you've still got the middle of the field open. Clock stops on a first down to move the chains.
Now, of course, if you're the Titans, your emphasis is going to be on maybe double team Aiden Hall, but Curran has shown that he's got the ability to be shifty out there on the receiving, and he's breaking some tackles too. So they just want a positive gain here, Trevor. Get this to second and short and get something moving out, get near the 30 or the 40.
59 seconds to go. Kasserbauer in a pistol look takes the snap. Left side, Hall open. They go lateral, balls on the ground. Harlan gets it back, but that's going to stay in bounds, and they're not going to get as much out of it as maybe if they would have just cut bait.
Is the old hook and lateral play possibly, or that was just something that Aiden Hall thought he might be able to get to his teammate?
That was designed, Brian, for sure. He was ready. As soon as he caught the ball, he was ready to lateral that. I think just a really nice play on the far side corner there, number 24.
Well, I think if Aiden Hall catches it and turns upfield, he probably gets 5 or 6 more yards on his own. But it's one of those, if you try it now and you break it and you catch him off guard, you get a guy on the outside with some speed.
So second 8, Harlan had to burn one of their 2 timeouts they had remaining.
If you're Lewis Central, you're definitely putting a couple guys deep, Nick, out there by, probably on your own 40, 45-yard line. You want to make sure nothing is behind you right now.
Yeah, I'd say you need at least 20 yards off the ball for sure.
45 seconds left.
If you're Harlan, you're trying to see if you can get a pretty good chunk here, Trevor. I think you got to run some kind of pass play. You can still go over the middle.
Mm-hmm. As long as you get the first down, the clock will stop to move the chains.
You need about a 15 or 20-yard chunk of gain right here to kind of at least get you an opportunity to get your field goal kicker a reasonable chance to potentially tie it.
Last thing you can take here if you're Harlan is any sort of loss, whether that be by a sack or an errant snap that has to just be falling on.
A drop pass is still an incomplete. You preserve some time. Time is the key right now for the Cyclones.
Yeah, short of the sticks, you're probably better off not to catch it. Here's second 8 coming up for Harlan. Kasserbauer over the middle. Hall, it was behind him, almost intercepted. Brandon Jawan, who recovered the onside kick earlier. Blake Jawan, Bryce Jawan almost had it.
Well, if you're Harlan now, it's 2-down territory, so you got 2 downs to make at least 8 yards and continue this. You got to get the first down to continue this drive. If you're at Lewis Central, probably a 3-man rush right here, and see if you got to make sure you contain Kasserbauer. I don't think you want him outside the tackles, Nick, where he has a good chance to use his vision and look downfield.
Yeah, I mean, he's such a good improviser. They have to try to keep him in the pocket here.
3rd and 8. Harlan's got 3 receivers on the right side. They'll put Aiden Hall in motion, move him right to left. Screen out of the backfield to Curran. He's trying to get out of bounds. He does, but he didn't get much out of it. And, gentlemen, we've got a 4th down to decide this game.
Well, the one thing he did do was get out of bounds. It preserves the timeout and allows you to keep 33 seconds on the clock. If Harlan does get a first down, they at least have something down the field if they have to, Trev, stop the clock. So that's big because if he tackled in bounds, you're down to 1 play.
4th and 5 from the 25. It's 4th in the ball game. 30-27. Lewis Central is leading.
They're looking not only to avenge last year's, but stop that 13-game winning streak for the Cyclones. It would be in kind of emphatic fashion here tonight here in Council Bluffs.
Pistol look, LC showing blitz, and there was movement on the Harlan front line that's going to make this 4th down a little longer.
Well, they're claiming that it was deuced offside, but I think it's going to be a losing cause, and the official is walking back, so that kind of determines that, doesn't it?
That'll be 4th and 10 for Harlan from their own 20. They were up 11 with 3 minutes to go. Aiden Hall had a big run that I might have, a little too early, called the dagger.
Dagger was retracted.
Yes. 4th and 10. LC with 7 guys in the box. Kasserbauer throws to Sears. Caught. I don't think he got the first down. And he was about a yard short. And Lewis Central's defense holds strong. It's how they won a championship last year. And it's going to be how they win the Night of Champions this year.
The turning point in the game was the special teams play, the recovery, the onside kick, and probably before that was the 2-point conversion that allowed them to get with 3 of them, push that thing. But what a great job by the Titans.
How about Boston Hensley there, guys? You just mentioned the special teams play, the onside kick. He was the one who kicked that. He's the one who makes the stop there on 4th down to win the game for the Titans.
So the Titans going to go into the best formation in football. And you go back to last year, they blew a double-digit lead, and the double-digit lead that they lost, they find tonight at a comeback. Lewis Central with a win for the ages. 30-27, the Titans in a battle of the Night of Champions come out on top in as good of a high school football game as you will ever see. Gentlemen, your thoughts?
I think you guys summed it up the best. The Night of the Champions, what a great atmosphere. It started at the beginning. You couldn't ask for a better night of football. Both teams well prepared, well coached, and it was going to be one of those things. We talked about it. It was going to come down to something late that happened, and we saw it happen right there. And both these teams are going to be playing in November.
I would say very much not only in November, maybe that week before Thanksgiving, where the state championship game is. Would not be surprised to see both teams playing there. So Lewis Central now 2-0 on the year. Some numbers for you tonight. Braylon Camrad, 8 of 21 for 192. How about the Titans' run game? 150 rushing yards. Camrad has a couple of rushing touchdowns. Their leading receiver was Curtis Whitty, 3 catches, 121 for him. Harlan, Tegan Kasserbauer throws for 197 yards and 2 touchdowns. Cade Sears, his favorite receiver, 3 catches for 87 yards. Aiden Hall had 7 catches for 68 yards and a touchdown. Also ran for a touchdown, but it's going to be a tough one to put into words, guys.
Yeah, and I think let's go back, Nick, if you're still around there. The first possession that the Harlan Cyclones on, they were moving the ball pretty well at will, and they had that tip pass interception. That really kind of changed a few things. If they find a way to punch that in, that might change a little bit how the complexion goes, but give the Titan credit. Nobody panicked. Everybody stayed true. They stayed with their game schemes and stuff, and it usually comes down to, in these games, one little tiny mistake, and can you take advantage of it? And the Titans were able to do that. They got the kick recovered on the onside, able to find a way to punch it in, and what a huge statement win. And the Titans kind of get that thing, and they get their season off to a great start, 2-0 right now.
Well, the thousands that flocked into Titan Stadium here tonight, and I mean, we showed up at 5:15 and it was filling up. Don't you say they got their money's worth?
Oh, and then some. And again, hats off to everybody, the Lewis Central staff and the administration here for planning this ahead. And as you mentioned, you had this earmarked a long time ago, and everything worked out well. They anticipated a large crowd, and I think both coaches are going to take a huge amount of positives out of this game, don't you?
I would say so, for sure. And again, this is a game where obviously you want to win it, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't hurt you.
Oh, it does nothing but help you, and it sets it up. And again, that Underwood game last week, that tells you how good that Underwood team was, because it took everything that Lewis Central had tonight to hold this Harlan team. And tell you what, both these squads are going to make some noise at the end of the season, and we hope that Jonathan Huppel is able to come back and play here soon. And the greatest scene, the thing is, you get the crowd to storm the field, and well deserved, I think, for the Titan contingent.
It was scoreless after one quarter. There were 2 touchdowns in the first 4 plays of the second quarter. 13-10 in favor of Harlan going into halftime. Lewis Central took a lead. In the third quarter. Harlan went down a big boy drive, 14 plays, 82 yards. They regained the lead. Lewis Central punted on 4th and short in Harlan territory early fourth quarter. I thought maybe that was going to be something that'd come back to haunt them. They get a stop. They get the ball back. They have to punt again. And then Aiden Hall, that looked like it was going to be the dagger with 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, you said 27-16 with 3 minutes. You go, that's it. But the Titans found a way to get the ball down. They get into the end zone. And then they get the 2-point conversion, and they go for the onside kick. They execute it perfectly. I don't think, Coach says, how do we get this to work? That's it right there. You're going to pull this back up on film and say, this is how you do it. You get the right formation. As Nick mentioned, kind of a bunch. Everybody was just huddled. The ball traggled, and Harlan played it well. They just didn't come up with the ball. But then you got to convert it, Trev, and the Titans did that. And just Braylon Camrad right there with his feet, and right there he capped it off, and the Titans get a much-deserved win. And I think it just really sets them up for big things because they lost a lot of guys off last year's squad.
Yeah, and this is a team that offensively, I think back to the first couple of Lewis Central teams that made deep playoff runs. What'd they hang their hat on? Really, really good defenses. I mean, Max Duggan was a great quarterback, but obviously, he's playing on Saturdays now, but, the defense was their bread and butter. This year, this looks like an offensive-heavy team. Of course, the defense has talent all over the place. It's still maybe more of a work in progress, and when that defense gets figured out, it's going to be scary.
Well, you know what this does? This tells you that the game, if things don't go your way, you have a few mistakes. You've got the ability and to bounce back, and if you put yourself in position, you tell your guys, give us a chance. We can come through, and that more evident than tonight. And same for Harlan because they responded. They were backs against the wall. It looked like Lewis Central had some momentum. Those guys, the veteran players that the Cyclones have, Casper, Hall, and those guys, they didn't panic. They punched a 11-point lead. It just took a couple great breaks by the Titans. Otherwise, we'd be talking about a Harlan's victory right now.
Yeah, Harlan now, they will take on Grinnell. That's never an easy matchup next week, but they'll have that matchup. Meanwhile, Lewis Central, they've got a tough one as they travel to Carlisle as well. What a game here tonight. Just what a fantastic game. I don't really know what else to say other than obviously.
I think this guy said it pretty good. Mr. Todd Jacobson listening in. He goes, great job tonight. He goes, give Trevor a fist bump, and I would agree with that. And Nick, hats off to you guys, and hats off to Josh Allen and his staff here. Those guys did a great job. Great coverage. Excellent football tonight. Excellent coverage. And, again, Southwest Iowa blessed to have this opportunity to have these 2 state champions here, and we get a chance to be a part of it.
As good of a high school football game as you will see on a Thursday night in August or any time of the year. Again, huge thanks to everyone at Lewis Central that helped make this broadcast possible here tonight. Josh Allen, who runs their student media program, definitely made our lives a lot easier. Huge thanks, of course, to Lewis Central Athletic Director Jim Dermody as well. They tried to get this game on TV and didn't, and selfishly, I'm really glad because it put us here tonight. What a game. I'll have a full rundown later on tonight, maybe actually early tomorrow morning, but nonetheless, it'll be online. Check out all of it at KMAland.com later on. You've been listening to high school football on the KMA video stream. What a fun one here tonight where Lewis Central was a 30-27 winner. Saying so long from Council Bluffs for Nick Stavas and Brian Bertini, I'm Trevor Maeder. Thanks for listening and have a great night.